Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. How's it going? Cannot pick this live up. Hey, everybody. Oh, let me turn that down. Hey, Sugar is Sweet. How are you doing? I have something up on my laptop. I have the victim impact statement up on my laptop, so I'm not going to be able to be on the laptop for a little bit until I play that for you guys. How is everyone's Sunday? Did y'all have a good weekend? I had an awesome weekend. Salt. Hey, Scott. How are you? Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Vincent. You guys, if you hear my laptop going off, I'm so sorry. I know a lot of you guys know that, I'm sure everybody knows that Amber had court. Scarlett, I'm so sorry. I have to remember that. Scarlett. I love that name, Scarlett, by the way. It's a beautiful name. So Amber was in court on October 31st, Halloween. She received her sentencing. I'm sorry, you guys may hear my husband's phone in the background. He's walking around listening to his stuff. Wearing my Bash Chat t-shirt. Aw, thank you, Emily. You need something? You looking for something? I think there is one by the couch in the living room. Yes, it really is heartbreaking. And it was said that this was read in court in front of Amber, and from what I hear, she displayed no emotion. Like, she didn't get sad when she heard it. She just was blank from what I hear. I also heard that she was kind of defiant. So I don't really know exactly what went on with that, but I do know as a judge, if someone comes in there with charges like that and then they get defiant with me as a judge, if I was a judge, I don't know. I think I would be throwing their little butts in jail for a little bit. Like, you cannot go to court and be defiant with a judge, especially when you have, oh, thank you, Dark Demon. My hair's not want to act right tonight. It's been in a ponytail all day. So we are going to play. I wonder why there's not been any clickbait related to her court date on Teen Mom's social media. I don't know. Hold on just a second, you guys. Stop that for a second so it don't get all crazy. So Alicia, do I know when I will have another Chris Watts live? I almost done Chris Watts tonight, but I realized, you know what? I actually have not played the victim impact statement on my channel, so I wanted to go ahead and do that. I'm going to shoot for, what's tomorrow? Monday? We'll try Monday to do the Chris Watts, and then Tuesday we will have the Teen Mom. I also have a guest that's going to be coming. Well, tonight Matt Baier will call in, and also I have another guest that's going to be coming on as soon as I can get that worked out, and it's going to be so much fun. I love this person. I'm a fan of this person. I have not watched the show Unexpected. I tried to the other day on my phone as I was washing dishes. So when I watch TV any other time other than when it's with you guys, I have to watch it on my phone because I'm like up doing things. So I tried to on my phone, but it didn't really want to play. So I didn't get to. Chris Watts is the guy that killed his wife, his pregnant wife, and their 2 children. So there's a book out about that, and we're going over that book. So you guys, we have 103 people in the chat. Thank you. Who's this Matt that's joining it? Matt Baier from Teen Mom. Matt Baier is Amber Portwood's ex-boyfriend. Usually if somebody knows Amber Portwood, they know they know Matt Baier because he was with her. How long were you guys together, Matt? 3, 4 years? I don't know, something like that. You were on the show a couple seasons. Okay. Katie's going live on Instagram? I didn't know that. Yes, I did hear that Janelle and David are getting a divorce, and there's a lot of speculation as to if this is just for the show. Is this real? Did she leave him? Or did she really leave him? A lot of people are questioning it. Me personally, I think that it is legit. Whether or not she will go back, I don't know, but I think that she is, I think that she is actually, I think she did really leave him. Now, as you guys know, someone like David, he is very manipulative, so he could get her back somehow. He is already starting to be like rude and ugly on social media towards her. So, yeah, a lot of people do think it's a publicity stunt, and I can understand why people would believe that. Yeah, I am a fan of Matt Baier. I've gotten to know him over the past few weeks, and MTV definitely did not portray him correctly. So let's all remember that, you know, the people that have gotten to know Matt in the past few weeks, everyone likes him, and it's because he really is a nice guy. So, are you guys still friends with Katie? Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball? Is that who you're talking about? Yeah, I don't have an issue with Katie. Me and Katie, yeah, we're good. Yeah, I think she really did leave, but can guarantee you that yeah, I know everyone was saying that David was acting too calm, and now he's starting to kind of get a little riled up. So we are going to play the victim impact statement that he gave in court in front of Amber Portwood. I also heard that there was one of the producers there, and I don't remember which one. Maybe Morgan. Who was it, Matt? Do you know which one it was that was in court, that was seated beside Amber or somewhere with Amber? Okay, you guys, I'm going to play this. If you guys can't hear it, make sure you let me know, and I'll try to turn it up. I do not know if she's moving out of North Carolina permanently. There are people saying that she is in Tennessee right now, but I've not had that confirmed, really. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm still a little sick, but not as bad. So it is getting better. Thank the Lord. Okay, so I want you guys to remember that this statement was read in court in front of Amber. And from what sources are reporting, she did not show any emotion when this was read. So,
to say that our family is broken in one night is an understatement. The reality of what brought us here transpired over a period of a year and many months. It dates back to the first time you hit me in the face while I was driving you and our son on a highway in the pouring rain to make it to your daughter's school on time to see her off. That moment when the first blood was drawn was when you deemed me an enemy, a liability to your career because I wouldn't take your abuse and keep my mouth shut. Gary, your ex, was an admitted witness to the attack along with 2 brave teachers and 1 parent. It was after that day, August 7th, 2018, that you grew more and more comfortable abusing me, neglecting our son, and separating yourself from us as a family. Not a day would go by where your screaming and violence would not be felt by myself, by James, by our nanny, or anybody who would be in the house long enough. You have stripped us of too many precious first memories together. Days when all three of us should have been at our happiest in life, and you have darkened every holiday I can remember with you. For this all to happen on the 4th of July fits that pattern to a T. And here we are on Halloween in court for something that never should have happened and was entirely avoidable. That night was one of the scariest nights of my life, and my mind replays the worst moments to no end. And for you to go on national television and downplay your atrocious behavior as if nothing happened is so shameful. You stated in that interview that if someone were chasing me with a weapon like that, I'd be running out the door. Yet you failed to let the public know that I am legally handicapped by way of an ankle fusion. I cannot run, or that I was holding our son at the time of the attack. But more importantly, that when you came at us, we were on the second floor of the house, up 2 flights of stairs. I got away as fast as I possibly could from you, and yes, I did consider leaping down 2 flights of stairs with our son in my arms. But I'm glad I did not. He could have gotten seriously hurt. That same consideration was not displayed by you while you were throwing full force punches at me, missing his head by inches as I held him in my arms. When I begged you to please stop shouting and cursing in front of our infant, your reply was, "It doesn't matter, he's just a baby." He's not just a baby, he's your son. But you have forgotten that time and again and have carelessly put his life and mine in serious danger. You cannot control yourself in your fits of rage, and I know you will be forever torn inside about not having custody of your daughter, but you have allowed that pain to destroy your relationship with your son, and you have pushed away a man who loved you so unconditionally and fully, who only wanted to help you regain your health and show you true happiness. The damage you have caused this family is irreparable, and the reason it can't be repaired is lack of ownership. The one glaring truth is that the one glaring truth that is omitted from this deal was done so for the sole sake of you being able to keep your job, and that is all. Because after all, a mother displaying such horrendous actions against her soulmate and child wouldn't be a tolerated motherly action. Yet swinging uncontrollably inches from your child's head, that apparently is right on the line of acceptance today. You've saved your job, but you've lost your family. But fear not, the truth will get out there. After you were arrested, you have publicly accused me of kidnapping, car theft, cheating, stealing, gaslighting, violence, soliciting prostitution, and money laundering. Yet once all your stories of deflection came out, not long after, I was contacted by your manager and attorney stating you would like to reconcile with me and get back together. A slick attempt to getting everything dropped. That is the same as being hugged and stabbed in the back at the same time. What type of woman are you to want to be with such a vile man, if that is the case? You have done nothing but attack me online and in the press, yet behind closed doors you want your family back. You never even made a formal apology for ripping our family apart in the first place. I hope you find your heart, that you finally can heal, that you can truly forgive yourself for all the terrible stuff you've done in your life, and that happiness will finally come to you. The psychological abuse you have subjected me to will take years to overcome. I am feeling the fallout of it now, and the healing process is terrifying. James is doing great, but he needs his mother to be healthy. Be a mother for once in your life, or don't. It doesn't matter to me. But that boy is going to have a happy life, and that is now certain. I was a single father before ever becoming a single father. I saved my son. I saved my son's life on the 4th of July. You destroyed our family on the 4th of July. This is how it will be celebrated. But I hope that changes. But I hope that changes to being celebrated as the 4th of July, the first day towards you saving your own life. If not for yourself, then for your 2 beautiful children.
Wow.
Okay, so what I want to say really quick is this was recorded back at home. So he said this in court. This is what he said in court. This is what is being reported, that this was his victim impact statement. But because it was not recorded in court for, anyone to hear, he recorded it back at home, and it was given to, another outlet to play. So, this is not actually the recording from court. This is him at home. But a lot of people, you know, myself included, I do remember him having something done to his ankle at some point in time. That was something that I forgot about when all of this had taken place. And he stated in his statement that he actually can't run because of an ankle fusion. So, you know, I knew that interview from the reunion struck a chord with him. I spoke to him afterwards, and that was something that really bothered him, was the whole texting 911 rather than calling, and him not being able to run. But he still didn't remind me of that. Like, he didn't say why he couldn't run. He just said that he was upset that the way Dr. Drew handled it, rather than, it was almost kind of like they were picking on him because he texted 911 rather than calling, and it was kind of like they downplayed how scared he was that night, because Dr. Drew was like, if you're really scared, you would call 911, right? And I know that did, bother him. And that upset me as well, because I remember watching it with Dr. Drew, and I remember thinking, if someone was in my house acting that way, I would be too scared to call 911 and them hear me say, I'm in danger, send help. That would only make them more angry. So rather than making them even more angry, I would text it so they didn't know that I was doing it. Do we actually know if he actually read this in court? That is what's being... Well, yes. Here's the thing. We do know that he gave a victim impact statement in court. He is saying this was what he read in court, so that's all we have to go off of. But we do know for a fact he did read a victim impact statement. That was his right. He chose to, take that and do that. And from what's being reported, she showed no emotion, and as he read it. So I was skeptical of the whole story until I heard the audio. I believed him, but I didn't know if it was exaggerated. Being able to text 911 is a literal lifesaver for people in DV situations. Absolutely. I agree. Let me get back on so I can see what you guys are saying in the chat. I think him texting was smart. Matt Baier, what do you think about him texting rather than calling? Are you where I can call you right now, Matt, or no? People have called 911 and pretended to be ordering pizza to get help because it isn't safe to piss off the crazy chick with the machete. Exactly. Okay, so we're going to get Matt's take on it as far as does he think it was a better idea for Andrew to text rather than call? I personally think that it would have been. I know, I used to love Dr. Drew as well, but I feel like he's gone soft on the people, and he does not hold them responsible. Are you speaking with Andrew? I've not spoken to Andrew in a little while. There was something that I remember that he told me, and I was going to share that with you guys, but now I can't remember what it was. But I have not talked to Andrew in quite a while. I think his people does still kind of talk to, Katie here and there, and that's how the victim impact statement got out, was they got it to her. We can't really judge people because we weren't in that situation. Yeah. All I can do is say what I would have done, but you still don't know until you're in that situation. One thing that I can say is a lot of people will say, that Andrew pushed her buttons. He pushed her, and then hit record. He didn't hit record. She knew those cameras was there just as well as he did. I think she got mad and talked about the cameras when she was not at her best. Like, she knew those cameras was there, and she didn't have a problem with those cameras being there, but when she would have a bad day and she would act like that, then she would complain about the cameras, and then like maybe paranoia would set in, and then she would start saying, oh, why do you have these cameras here? You have these cameras here to get me acting like this. But it's kind of like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. Like, you can push my buttons all day long, but you're not going to get me to act like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have my kids here. Never in a million years would I... The audio isn't from the ring. It was on his body. I haven't heard anything. A ring cam is the doorbell. From the looks of the cameras that I saw, they are identical to the cameras that I have in my house. And they're literally, like, you put them all over the house. I haven't heard anything of Andrew having a body cam on at all. From what I understand, it was audio from the inside surveillance camera and a ring doorbell cam. And I don't know if that caught, like, her coming in and out. I don't really know. Let me try to read some of these comments. How is the audio on your SMS at home? I think Ring has other cameras. Maybe so. You could be right. All I've ever heard of is there's a Ring brand that does the doorbell. But they may do more. I think people said Ring, like the brand, and people took it as Ring, like a spy cam. I've never heard anything about a spy cam. And from the cameras that I heard that were installed, she knew they were there. Like, it was, they put them up. It was not, like, before they left, because they had problems with someone, like a family member going into their house when they were not there, when they were gone before on, like, business trips, that a family member going into their home. So this time they were going to be gone for like 2 months or something for Andrew to do work in California. So how is the audio on your cameras at home? My audio on my cameras at home is just fine. Like, what do you mean? Random question, does NC have ruled that child of the divorce has to live where they were born? I have no idea, Toasted Network. I have not checked into that. I know in LA they do. Louisiana they do. Okay, Ring has cameras for inside your home as well. Okay. From what I understand, there was no body cam that was used in this. There was no spy cam. These cameras, and if you look at the picture where she had, like, she chopped up one of the cameras, they're big. They literally look identical to mine. And I could, there's not one in this room, but I would have to show you a picture of my cameras. They're literally this big poking out the wall. We have them in the corners of most of the rooms in our house. So she did kind of tell the truth. She pleaded guilty, so we all know everything Andrew said is true. She did plead guilty to some of the charges. Some of them were dropped. But I think that was the audio in Amber's tape sounded like he was holding the audio, not the audio recorded off the cameras. I would venture to say that that's what mine sounds like. The audio and the video footage from those cameras are really, from my cameras, are really good. We have one outside. I mean, you can literally see the cars passing by. You can see almost, like, if they were to go slow enough or we was to slow it down, you can see the people inside it. I thought it was a cell recording. No, it was not a cell recording. It was not cell phone recordings. From what I understand, the audio that was turned in and the videos that were turned in was security cam. Like, that she knew that was put up. It was put up months prior, before they went to California, to keep, you know, an eye out on the house. And from what I understand, she did not have a problem with these cameras until she would have a bad day. And then she would, like, complain about the cameras there because they were catching her at her not so best. She pled guilty to take a plea and avoid jail, not because she wanted to say Andrew was telling the truth. The audio release was from a cell, wasn't it? No. Kiki Dawn, from everything that I understand, I've not seen, like, if you look at the information for what they took into evidence, it does not say a cell phone audio. It's, like, security audio. So that, let me see if I can find what I was taking into evidence, because I have not seen anything about a cell phone audio. That's why, like, I think a lot of people get, I vote for Grace Report to do the Teen Mom reunions. Oh, that would be good. That would be pretty cool. Let's see, Amber, Portwood. Let me see how I can put this. Audio evidence taken That's why when I've seen people saying, like, he filmed her without her knowing, I'm like, but he didn't. She knew it was there. Yeah. Yes, it was entered into evidence. The audio was entered into evidence. And from what I remember reading, it was a security system audio. It wasn't like a cell phone audio or a spy cam audio. There's emails used. Text messages was used. Let me see if I can find out all the evidence. Right. Scarlett, yeah. Katie said that what she had was not part of the evidence, but it was from the same type. Yeah. In a heartbeat, Allie Love. If I was asked to interview the ladies on Team Mom, I would do it in a millisecond. That would be like a dream. Hey, Nancy. Yes, it was different than what we got to hear. What I'm thinking is they used the security system audio and video footage from the day of the incident. That's what I'm going to believe. Like, they didn't use any of the audio that we heard because they only took audio and evidence from the night in question or the morning in question or the day that these events took place. Nothing else. Yeah, I think it was Larry. When Janelle had that video releasing of her yelling at David as he drove away, you could tell she's holding the cell because she was hollering. Same as Andrew. It seems she's holding. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, a doorbell video was featured. I'm going to read this. It says, the Marion County Superior Court obtained 3 emails from Andrew. One which was titled Amber Audio Clips, and other with titles Missed One and August 7, 2018, First Blood Drawn. And the second clip, it was titled, it was a doorbell video. So from what I understand, and you know, I would check mine and his email, our messages. Wait, let me quote this correctly. According to, which is now been edited out, Morgan was there with Amber at court. Then it was stated by her that Larry was there. I don't know who was there, but I did hear that one of them was there, either Morgan or Larry. So I'm not going to say for sure. No, I think sugar is sweet. And I could go back in our emails just to double check. Okay, on my home security system, I can get on my TV, my smart TV, and look at everything. I can replay stuff that happened last week, right? He emailed them that footage. He emailed his footage of his home security system of the night in question. That's what I'm understanding happened. Yeah, that's from what I understand. And I hate to go back in our messages but I'm pretty sure he told me it was a security system. Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, it was a security camera video, not him recording from a cell. Yeah, the only time I heard it was a cell phone was way early on when it first happened. And then that was the only thing, like, I heard that it was like a cell phone, that she got mad because he was recording her. But then, after everything come out, it was because that's not really what it was. It was, she got mad over other reasons, and then she talked about that, like, oh, and you're recording me, like, with the cameras. But from what I understand, she did not, like, she knew those cameras was there. She knew that when they were installed. My husband installed our cameras, you guys, and it took him 3 days. There was no way he could have put those cameras in without my knowledge. He had to go up through our attic. Like, it was just a whole big old ordeal. Yeah, TMZ said security video. Do anyone else see Janelle go after Katie? I saw that. I saw the whole Janelle and Katie situation go down. It was a security system. The camera lens was probably destroyed, but the microphone was probably intact and could probably pick up audio. I am too, Kiki. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, she did. She, like, hacked one of the security cameras up. You could see, like, the imprints from it being chopped. Right now, he cannot move to California. That's going to be discussed at a later date. Did the housekeeper get her money returned after the sentencing? I've not heard anything on that. But Amber and Amber's brother Sean, I believe, said that was Amber's money. That it was Amber's money used to get her out. That it wasn't the nanny's money. I don't know. The housekeeper's money. I don't really know. Now, the nanny or the housekeeper said it was her money. She needed the money back. Sugar is sweet. I have to say, my audio picks up that well as well. Like, it, to me, when I heard it, and hearing mine, when I have to play mine back sometimes, I never once thought, oh, that doesn't sound like home security audio. If you buy a good system, and I can guarantee you they can afford a good system, they bought a system where the audio picks up pretty good. Okay, so the housekeeper had receipts. I do remember when, like, Amber said that, thinking that I was pretty certain that the housekeeper had some proof that she paid for it. Could it be that Andrew was standing by the camera and Amber was across the room from the camera, though? Matt is coming in just a little bit, you guys. I'm going to give him a call. I am eating combos. Okay, someone said the housekeeper put it on a credit card, so I don't get how they could say that it's Amber's money. If it's on a credit card with lady's name on it, then... I understand that. Sugar is sweet. Yeah, you want to break down everything. I get that. So apparently, from what I'm reading in the comments, that has been denied. Rhonda getting her money back has been denied yet again from what someone said in the comment section. the Andrew Glenn in 1984 is not Andrew Glennon. He did say that a little early on. Oh my God, Leslie, I don't know how you eat the pizza combos. I tried them again. They're so good. I love them. Yeah, Matt said he'll be on in about 10 minutes. Do I think Amber will be able to walk out her probation? I personally don't, and this is why. I think she will fail not for marijuana. That's what, because everybody has talked about how she's been smoking marijuana for a while now, like daily, right? And that's, she has to submit to these random drug testing. I think she will keep her act together because she can somewhat maintain her actions like in front of cameras, and she's going to be filmed. She's being filmed right now from what I understand. So I think if she like gets in trouble at all, it's going to be due to her failing a drug test. Possibly, like, I think she's going to be able to maintain keeping her act together. Other than that, yeah. Matt Baier said, he was with her when she was on parole, and it was a lot stricter. Like, the terms of her parole was a lot stricter, and she was able to abide by that. And he said she followed those guidelines to a T. Like, she wanted to make sure she did not mess up. That was when she was fresh out of prison and she wasn't, like, smoking weed anymore. So, like I said, I think she's going to try to walk a straight line, but I think that weed may catch up with her. That's just my personal opinion. I could be completely wrong. Is weed illegal in her state? I don't think it is. Yeah, her probation is 2.5 years, and let's see, how long was her parole? Yeah, she did choose jail last time. And I think one of the reasons she chose jail is because she knew she was not going to continue. I think she had already, like, failed, like, 3 drug tests when she was in drug court. I think. Like, she had already broken the rules of drug court a couple times, and if she was going to break them again, she was going to go to jail anyways. She just went ahead and told them, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do it. Lock me up. I also think pills, like, from what I understand, depending on your weight, like how used to them you are, it kind of, what are you looking for?
Where's your purse?
In my car, I think. I think it kind of depends on a few different things on how long it takes them to leave your system. Gary Shirley should speak out about his abuse from Amber. He's afraid to lose his money. I don't think Gary's gonna speak out about her. I do wish he would come on, even if he don't want to mention her, just to talk about Leah and how Leah's doing throughout everything. That would be awesome to have him on, but, yes. If they test her hair, they could probably see if she's been smoking pot. Gary is simply trying to co-parent and so best for, and yeah. who needs their, yeah, I do think like Gary kind of keeping mom, like a lot of people's like, oh, he's all about the money, but I do think that's very mature of him from a co-parenting standpoint. Because the minute he starts speaking out and says anything that can make her mad, then it's just chaos between them. Then it's not good for Leah. So honestly, as far as Gary, it is best that he not really speak on the subject. You're right, Scarlett, I do. Maybe I can get one from Katie. I can borrow one from her. Or borrow hers when she's not using it. Yeah, Gary has to deal with Amber for the rest of his life. So I think it's just, you know, why make her mad? If they're doing okay as far as co-parenting, he don't need to speak out just to satisfy us, you know, if they're doing okay. Yeah, I feel bad for the children as well. Stephanie, I can see your comment, Stephanie. I see it in gas stations and everything. I don't think it's necessarily correct, but whatever. Oh, wow. Kayla Ray said, the people that I knew were on probation said that they're usually slide with almost everything. That they usually slide with almost everything. I know people who tested positive for coke and weed for the whole time they're on probation. Wow. People get too mad at Gary for supporting her. Yeah, and you know, if he, I can see why he's doing what he's doing. It's like, don't poke the bear because that causes him problems, you know, that could affect his daughter. Savannah Ghost Research Society, absolutely. Yeah. No, I do, Stina Marie, I do. I personally, do you think Gary is in it for the MTV paycheck? I mean, I think probably the check isn't, like, I think Gary is in it for his daughter. Like, I think he has shown us that he's a good dad. Like, he's a good dad. He puts his kids first. He has a really great wife. You know, I think he doesn't speak out because that's what's good for his child. That's what I think. I don't think, you know, a lot of people have said because he hasn't spoken out that he's in it for the money. I don't necessarily believe that. Is it nice for them to have the money? Because he has a job. I think they all like the money. Who wouldn't like the money? Who would not like the money? If a camera crew could come here and follow me around for, I think Matt said it's not even a lot of work. Like it's a couple of days at a time, you know. And then you get this huge paycheck at the end. Who wouldn't want that? But I think when it comes down to it, Gary is just like, this is my child's mother. My child loves her mother. And if me and my child's mother are having confrontation, that affects my daughter. So I'm going to leave it alone. And I think that's what he does. Hey, Jube Jubes. Thank you for popping in. That's just my personal opinion. I think everybody appreciates the money and likes the money, but I don't think Gary's not speaking up because of the money. No, Stephanie, we haven't started that yet. Matt will come on in a little bit. I'm just kind of waiting to hear from him. The man has a career outside of Teen Mom. He doesn't need to respond to everything. As long as Leah is good, then that's all that matters. Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of people want him to say something, you know, and it's just, he doesn't have to necessarily. Like I said, I would love to get him on the show just to say, like, how is Leah doing? Like, is she still, you know, having those issues that resemble panic attacks? Did you ever get that figured out? Is she still dealing with that? How is she taking everything that's been going on? How are you guys handling it? But, you know, other than that, like, I'm sure he'll never do an interview like that, but It would be nice if he would. What do you think about the fact that we haven't heard from Amber and she's promised to tell the truth on October 31st? You guys want to know, at first I was wondering because people were saying Amber's missing. She hasn't been on social media. Well, they did say she would have to spend 2 days in jail possibly. So I was kind of wondering, wait, did they already get her for 2 days? But the other night she was posting things throughout the night. So she hasn't went live yet, but she was posting different things throughout the middle of the night. I just text Matt and told him to let me know when he's ready to come on. Yeah, I agree. Her lawyers probably told her, hush your mouth, girlfriend, because she went on a live straight saying, oh, I can't wait till the 31st. Everybody, her and like everybody was saying, her and her brother, like, you guys are going to hear the truth. You guys are going to hear the truth. You guys are going to hear the truth. Like, we're going to tell you what happened, the 31st, the 31st, the 31st, and then the 31st came and went, and nothing, and now she's kind of been silent, and maybe it is because her lawyers told her, zip your mouth. I think Amber's lawyer changed her IG password and won't give it to her. Maybe they blocked me as well. Yeah, still waiting on the truth. I have not listened to Kale's podcast today. I listened to it a couple of times before, but not recently. I did see that Twitter had got rid of all the spam and the bots and all that. So, but I also saw people saying, hey, I was following you and now I'm not. Like I had to refollow. But I did see that she was mad. Would I ever interview Barbara? In a millisecond. I love Barb. I would love to interview Barbara. I don't know if she would ever do it, but I would love to interview any of them. She did call me one of the haters, but since then, me and Barb do text a little bit here and there. And I just texted her the other day when news broke that Janelle and David were getting a divorce. I did text her, and she texted back, and she was very polite. And she just said the family is proud of Janelle, and they want her to be strong. Hey, being baby Brooklyn. Okay, Jubes, hope you have a great day or night at work. Well, I mean, I texted her and said that, news had broke because Janelle posted that she had left David and just letting her know that, people are proud of her for doing that. That she will get a lot of support. In my mind, that I felt that way. That there will be people that stand behind her in this. And I asked Barbara, is there anything that I could tell my viewers for you? And she was like, just that we're proud of Janelle. And, that we want her to be strong. So that's what Barbara said. I don't think Janelle's moving to Tennessee. She may be there right now, but I don't think she's moving to Tennessee. A lot of people is unsure, and I can definitely see why, why. Oh, my goodness. Kathy Lane, are you okay? I'm so sorry. If you fall asleep, love, I will upload it, and you can watch it tomorrow. I did text him, and I told him to let me know when he could come on, and I would give him a call. Oh, he said, I texted you 15 minutes ago and said ready when you are. Whoopsie. All right, we're going to give Matt a call. If you guys have questions for Matt, put them in the live stream. I know. Hey, what's going on?
Nothing. I'm watching a football game.
Who's winning?
What's your next question?
What's my next question? So obviously the Patriots are not winning, huh?
The Patriots are down 4 right now, but that won't last long.
Oh, okay. Okay, you guys. So the Patriots are gonna lose apparently. I'm just kidding. Someone said they lost. Is your game?
Huh?
Someone said they lost. Oh no.
It's only the third quarter.
Someone said let him know the Patriots are gonna lose. I don't watch football, so I can't.
It's all right.
I can't really talk too much about football.
I have confidence in my team.
He said he's got confidence in his team, you guys. His team will win. Someone said, who wants to watch football when Leslie is live? Matt is talented enough to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what's up?
Someone said, I'm going on a Vegas trip soon. What do I need to do while there? Any local secrets?
Yeah, stay off the strip. If you're going to gamble, stay off the strip. And you know, actually, there is a local secret. If you're going to go out to eat off strip. Because once you get off the strip, everything's normal priced and, you know, the food's exactly the same. But if you eat food at the resorts and whatnot, you're going to pay 4 times as much. So there's a lot of cool stuff off strip in Vegas.
Okay, so stay off the strip, basically. But
yeah, stay off the strip. It's a tourist trap.
Okay. Someone said, Matt, are you happier now that you're no longer filming Teen Mom anymore?
Am I happier now?
Yeah.
Life's a lot quieter now, that's for sure. I mean, I guess I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I wasn't unhappy then, but, you know, I mean, all I was doing was living my life. They were just filming it. You know what I mean? So it's not like my life has changed much. There's just no Teen Mom camera crew around. So
right.
I don't really think about it all that much, actually.
Someone said, was Amber's abuse a part of the reason you and her broke up?
Was Amber what? I'm sorry?
Was Amber's abuse like one of the reasons that you and her broke up?
No. No, I that would be unfair. That would definitely be unfair for me to say. No, yeah, we broke up because our relationship had deteriorated to the point where it was just unfixable on both sides. You know, there was guilt on both sides of that relationship. So it would be completely unfair for me to say that. I think that the arguments, especially towards the end of our relationship, and some of the names that were being thrown around and whatnot were so vile that you couldn't come back from them. But to say that was one of the reasons, no, that wouldn't be fair of me to say.
Gotcha. So, but let's not get it twisted. There was abuse happening. That's just not the reason you guys broke up in the end.
The reason we broke up in the end had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that the relationship had reached a point where it was never going to be good again. And I think both of us realized that, and it was time to move on.
Okay, someone said, at Matt, was Amber taking her meds regularly and attending counseling regularly when you guys were together?
She was taking her medicine towards the end of our relationship, which is when they were prescribed to her. And she was seeing her psychiatrist, yes.
Were there ever times she just didn't take it for reasons like to drink and have a good time?
You know, I can't really think of a time. I mean, I know that she had mentioned something like that during our Puerto Rico trip, I think. But it wasn't really a big factor. She took her medicine pretty regularly,
okay,
to be honest with you.
Okay, Juliet wants to know, did Amber ever take accountability for anything she did wrong while you and her dated?
No. Nope. But
okay.
Then again, you know what? Neither did I. So, I mean, no, there wasn't a whole lot of I'm sorry is being thrown around in that relationship. I think on either end, to be honest with you.
A lot of
So,
times, when you guys would fight, like you go your separate ways for a little bit, and then when you come back together, it was like it never happened, right? Like it was not mentioned again.
That was every time. That was every fight that we had. And once the fight was over, and I've said this a few times. I can't remember many of our disagreements lasting more than 30 minutes, to be honest with you. And once they were over, they were over. That was it. It didn't get mentioned again. And I had said before, one of the reasons that I didn't mention them again was because you basically risk reigniting that fuse, and so there was just no reason to bring it up again. I mean, I think a lot of people do that because they're looking for an apology. Well, to me, it was, whether it was my fault or her fault, it was over. The argument was over, so there's no reason to rehash it, and that's just kind of the code we live by.
Right. Yeah. Someone said Matt and Amber were together for 4 years, right? You guys were together for 4 years, right?
Somewhere around there.
Okay, somewhere around there.
I think, yeah.
Someone said, what happened to the dogs that you guys had? Who got the dogs?
Well, my dog that I had coming into the relationship, I still have. That's Axel. And Amber kept the other dogs.
Okay. I remember Axel. We talked about Axel the other night.
Yeah.
Someone said, how are you genuinely doing, Matt?
I'm good. I'm doing well, thank you. I appreciate the question. No, life is good. I have no complaints, none whatsoever.
Someone said, what does Matt think of Amber's probation?
I think that, what do I think of the punishment, or what do I think as far as will she successfully complete it? I mean,
how about both?
I guess I can answer both. Do I think she'll successfully complete it? I don't think she'll have any problem whatsoever. And I've stated this, and some people have disagreed with me, but I don't think she's going to have any problem fulfilling the obligation of her probation. And as far as the punishment, look, this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but she took a plea, and the plea was offered to her, and that was the punishment. So it's not for me to say whether I think something's fitting or not, because it doesn't matter what we all think. None of us were there that night. So I think there's resolution to this, and I think this is the time that is as difficult as it is, that we need to step back and let these people heal, all of them. What people have been saying for now since July is they want resolution to this. Well, now you have it. And it may not be what you agree with, but this is the resolution, and that's not going to change. So I think it's time to let everybody heal and go on with their lives, and hopefully everybody can do that in pretty short order.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people were expecting for her to get jail time. And I think that's probably why, people were asking for resolution. Like, oh, we just want, to see something done. And now that she's not getting jail time, that's why, this is kind of like reignited things. Like, people are talking about it even more again because, people are blown away over the fact that she didn't get jail time. But
you know what? I'll tell you why I don't think that's a big factor, Leslie, honestly. And this would go for anybody. I think she's kind of, in a way, serving the ultimate punishment because she doesn't have custody of her son. And that's a whole lot worse than going to jail for 30 days, I would think. So, people seem to have this bloodlust, and they keep tacking the word jail time onto this. Would jail time really have made a difference? Honestly, Amber's been to prison. You think a month in jail is really going to teach her something she doesn't already know? I think that there's the underlying things in this. The custody issue and the fact that her family's not together anymore. That's quite a punishment. That's a long-term punishment. So much more effective, in my opinion, than a jail sentence would be. So I don't know. I think that what people heard was she's facing up to 6.5 years in prison. Well, I mean, honestly, who really does the maximum amount of time when they go to court? And she took a plea deal. I mean, so the jail time was not on the table, and now it's up to her to fulfill the requirements of her probation. And if she doesn't, then she'll have to deal with it then. But I think she's, I think the things that she's lost are so far outweigh any jail punishment she could have done, in my opinion.
Okay, you're my buddy, Matt. But I don't know if she wants her son full time. Like, I think she would be happier having him, like, kind of the way she has Leah. Like, I think that would fit her more.
You may be right, Leslie. You may be right, but I'm just saying that if there, in my opinion, there's a difference between having, and I'm saying this hypothetically. This is not, specifically geared towards Amber and Andrew. But if you were in a situation where you can amicably work out a custody agreement with somebody, that's one thing. But to have a court tell you you can't have custody of your child.
Oh yeah, she's lost control.
That's
yeah,
be emotionally scarring for anybody.
And she don't have control over that, which is probably something that bothers her as well. Is the fact that she didn't get to choose whether or not she had custody of James.
That's exactly what I'm saying, and I think that's a much harsher punishment than getting 3 meals a day in jail. I really do. So I know people really wanted to see this extreme punishment, but again, I'm going to stress, none of us know exactly what happened that night. And the courts and the attorneys and these people all know better than we do. We heard, and I'm not, before anybody jumps on me, I'm not saying that Amber's innocent by any means. What I'm saying is we heard one side of the story, and we have not heard the other side of the story. So it may be mildly different, and I really think if it was as severe as what the general public thinks, I don't think this deal's on the table. I really don't. And that's just common sense telling me that.
Okay. All right.
You disagree?
No. You know her better than I know her, and I think I can agree with you on some things. Like when you first said like her, not having custody of her son is worse than sitting in jail. Like my first thought was, well, I don't know, because I don't know if she wants her son full time, anyways.
But that's speculation, and
Yeah.
one thing I can't ever do is speculate. I know that it tore Amber up not to have Leah all the time.
Right.
I know that for a fact because I was there. So I can only take a guess that she'd be feeling the exact same way. I think that there's this image of Amber out there that she, when it comes to her kids, it's better, it's better for her to have all this freedom and so on and so forth. And I've said this before, that's not the Amber that I know. So if she is that person now, I can't talk to, I can't speak on that.
Right.
Because I didn't know that person, so, Andrew's a better person to ask about that than I am, because he's been with her for the last couple of years, and I haven't.
I wish he would talk, more about it, which obviously he can't. And I get it, I'm sure he, at this point, just wants to move on,
Of course. I think they all do. I mean, it's bad enough to go through something like this, but to have to go through something like this publicly and then, not being able to say anything about it when the whole world is pressuring you to do it is not easy. So this hasn't been easy for him. And, it hasn't been easy for any of them. And I keep hearing people say that they wish Gary would speak out. Why? I mean, Gary doesn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah.
He really doesn't. And Amber and Andrew and Gary and them are in the public eye right now, but they're not going to be in the public eye forever. But Amber and Gary are going to be in each other's lives forever. And
yeah.
So they have to remember. You have to remember that relationship supersedes anything that the public sees.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it too.
I don't blame Gary.
Yeah.
And they're making, and I think it goes deeper than that. I think there's a lot of people that are saying, I want Gary to speak out, assuming Gary's going to come out negatively against Amber. And what happens if he came out and it wasn't negative? Then people would be upset at him then. So I think it's the fact that he's been quiet about this is actually responsible. He has to think about the long-term picture as opposed to the short-term public bloodlust.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the same, like, that's my sentiments on it as well. Is at first I was like, Gary needs to talk, but then I was like, why would he speak? Like, this really doesn't have much to do with him. He has custody of his daughter, and now if he does speak, it will only cause issues.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hey, can I answer one quick question from the chat to Kiki Dawn? She asked how my relationship with Christopher is. It's wonderful. Christopher is now a dad himself, and a wonderful dad at that. And I'm really proud of the way he's shaped up, and he's turning into quite a young man. So I'm really proud of him. Anyway, sorry, Leslie, go ahead.
Yes. So awesome job, Christopher. And I actually see, is that the baby you showed me a picture of?
Yeah, that's Christopher's son.
Okay, gotcha. Cute little baby as well.
Oh, he's precious, yeah.
So Matt is a grandpa.
Yeah, thanks for that.
What are you called? Do you mind saying? Like, what do you want to be called as a grandpa? Like grandpa, papa, poppy, papa?
Absolutely, 100%.
Papa Matt.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so let me see if I can.
I don't get this kind of abuse on the Katie Joy show.
Oh, I'm not abusing you. Come on. Come on. Someone said, Matt, are you glad you didn't marry Amber when you asked her?
Say that. What was the question?
Are you glad that you did not marry Amber? Like back when the show was going on, when you guys talked about getting married in Vegas. Are you glad that did not happen?
Yeah, because we'd be divorced right now. So, yeah, I'm glad that it didn't happen. I mean, you know, I think that we're probably both glad it didn't happen. You know, I don't think it knowing what we know now, it wouldn't have lasted. So we weren't meant to be together, and that's okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you think you want to marry people that you really don't want to marry. I mean, good golly almighty, if I would have married Paris and Caden's dad, holy moly, definitely would have ended in divorce. So, let's see if we can find some more questions. You guys, make sure you guys are respectful in the chat.
They can be disrespectful to me. I don't care. There's nothing they could say that I haven't heard a billion times. So
I know. I just like to keep it kind of classy in the chat. Like, if we don't agree with someone, that's fine. But, you know. Let's see what some more of the questions are. Because I've been seeing. Okay, if you think a guy would have done this, would the circumstances or the outcome be different?
Yes.
Yes. I agree. I agree there. 1,000%.
You know, let me rephrase that. I can't say from a legal standpoint because I'm not a lawyer. I think from an MTV standpoint, absolutely. I truly believe that. And I'm sure that there's people that are listening to that would probably get pissed off at me saying it, but I think if that situation was reversed, I think from an employment standpoint, it might have ended differently.
Yeah, I agree. If just say had, I don't know, Josh from, you know, what's her name? Mackenzie and Josh, say this would have happened between those two. If he would have done the same thing, I think he would have been kicked off the show 1,000%.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, and honestly, this is just my opinion. Maybe if it was another female on the show that did this, it might have ended differently. I think that, you know, I think there's certain people on the show that have a higher status within MTV, in my opinion.
And Amber is definitely one of them.
What's that?
Amber is definitely one of those people that have a higher status.
Oh, absolutely. And to be honest with you, from a work standpoint, she's earned it. She's easy to work with. She shows up for work. She does her job. You know, she gets along with everybody on the crew. She's while working, extremely professional. So, and she's been there since day one. So, I'd say she has in my opinion, she has a higher regard from the people that work there than somebody else might. And whether that's fair or not is not for me to say. But I think that's 100% accurate.
Got you. Someone asked, who are MTV's favorites?
Oh well, I think probably the original girls on the show are probably right up there. You know, and you know, I think. I can't speak for MTV, but I think they have high regard for all of the women on that show. But I think the ones that they kind of grew up with, they probably hold a special place in their heart. I think that's fair to say.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. I heard that when Amber got out of jail, it was her idea to bring the girls back for Teen Mom OG.
Yeah, you know what? Amber Boyd was actually the one that named Teen Mom OG.
Really?
She actually added the OG to that. Yeah, it was her idea.
Gotcha.
So, I don't think she meant it to be original girls, but the OG part was her idea.
Yeah. That's the story that I heard too, and that it was like her idea.
The one,
yeah, that's what I heard too. That it was her idea. That it was.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Let me see.
Can I answer Kelly's question? Kelly Brown's question.
I was just about to ask you that one. Go ahead.
About Kale. Kale has said she thinks Janelle will replace her on the show. Do you think there's a chance? I mean, your guess is as good as mine, but I would say no. I don't think that's. I think Kale is probably one of those people that is held in high regard as well. Kale's been there since the beginning of that show, and I've never heard anybody say a negative word about Kale behind the scenes. I mean, it's not like we had frequent conversations about her, but you know, I've never heard anything negative about Kale. Why would they want to replace Kale? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't think that would happen. No. I gave a prediction the other day, and I have no inside knowledge about this. I don't see Janelle coming back to Teen Mom. I don't. I can see Janelle getting her own show, but I don't see her coming back to Teen Mom.
That's interesting. I definitely think something's going to happen. She'll be put back on the show, or she'll get her own show, or something's going to happen. Like,
yeah.
As soon as
I don't know what that would be. And the only reason I say that, I think that, well, first of all, where would they fit Janelle in right now? There's only so many minutes in an hour, number one. And number two, I don't think I'm alone in saying I think Janelle could carry a show for 60 minutes. You know, I think that would be watchable TV. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think if anybody, you know, and I'll be honest, and this is going to get me a lot of crap too, I think the two people that could probably carry hour-long shows by themselves are Janelle and Farrah, for obvious reasons. So, I mean, I'm not saying I would watch. I'm just saying that those two could probably carry their own shows. And
there's content there.
Entertaining.
Yeah. They are entertaining. I mean, I watch Farrah's TikTok sometimes just because it's like, what is she thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you would do for an hour. You just kind of shake your head and say, well, what just happened? But then you tune in next week. So that's all they care about if you tune in next week.
Yeah. Someone asked a really good question. Oh, Matt.
Someone just said that they should put Janelle and Farrah and call it Teen Mom Outcasts. That is an absolutely fantastic idea.
That would be a good idea.
That person needs to work for the network.
That would be a good
idea.
Who said that? Stina Marie. That's a good idea. Okay, someone said, Matt, Amber recently went on an Instagram Live complaining about you. Was that offensive after all the respect you've publicly given her lately?
No, I wasn't offended by that. I wasn't actually surprised by that at all. You know what? Amber's been attacked by everybody. And she's naturally on the defensive. I'm not sure Amber saw what I said about her, but I have seen comments that people have made to her related to things that I've said, and the things that I've said don't sound remotely familiar to the things that she's being told that I said. So it's funny how things can get misconstrued that way. I wasn't offended at all. I really wasn't. I mean, that's not the worst thing Amber said to her about me. So I didn't give it any thought really, and I didn't change my opinion on the subject and my opinion on her or the situation at all. I mean, she couldn't lash out at Andrew legally, so I guess I was an easy target, and that's okay. I have pretty thick skin, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's one thing that Matt does have, like, pretty thick skin. I'm like, teach me how.
I try, Leslie.
He does try.
You.
He does tell me, like, when something happens, he'll be like, don't respond to that. Don't. Let it go. It doesn't matter. He tries to tell me.
Yeah, the things that you let bother you, we really have to work on.
Yeah, I really do. I really do. Okay, let's see. Matt, do you think Amber may have been mad that you went to Katie's channel? She made over 70 videos about her. I don't know how many videos Katie's done about Amber, but she does cover Teen Mom, so I probably have a lot of videos about her as well.
Well, was the question, do
you think that Amber...
I talked to you guys? I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I'm not really concerned if Amber's mad or not. I jokingly said the other day, one of the good things about my situation now is I don't have to be told what I can and cannot say anymore. And
for years you were. For years you were told, like, don't say that, don't say that. Like, for years you would get in trouble if you said something.
I will say this, Leslie. I will say that anytime I do speak about the situation, it's not about Amber. It's about when people ask me about the situation, and all I can do is be honest. And I'm not going to jump on the Amber bashing bandwagon, and I'm not going to do the same with Andrew. And I'm just giving you my opinion and my experiences, and not all of them were bad. So if Amber personally has a problem with that, that's okay. She's got my number. She can text me anytime she wants and yell at me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hang up.
Right. Yeah. I tried to text her, and it didn't end well for me, but oh well.
Yeah, I heard.
Yes.
I heard that didn't go well for you.
It did not go well for me, but that's okay. It's okay. And I was actually nice in the in the message that I sent her. I didn't lie. I said, that I disagree with a lot of things that she's done, but that if she ever wanted to talk, like, I would, and she was like, she kind of turned it around to what I said and went on an IG, went on Instagram and, like, said that someone texted her acting like she should know them when that's clearly not what I said. But oh well, it doesn't matter. It kind of helped me watching her on the live stream that night. It really reminded me that this is why people don't like her, like, because she gets this way. She gets so mad at people for saying things that literally are not even rude. She just takes them as rude.
Listen, this is going to be disagreed with by the masses, but I don't think you could take an Instagram live, and I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I think you played some of it or whatever, but you have to keep in mind that there's a lot of people out there that experience this. They're getting it from every single angle. I mean, every comment is negative, and there's some really vile stuff. Eventually, even the strongest person's going to vent. Do I personally think it's the right thing to do to vent on Instagram Live? No. But, that's the outlet that she chose. I don't think that particular incident should be, an overall, this is who this person is. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I mean, from somebody who's also gotten it at every angle, it does build up to a point where your head wants to explode. I mean, and it's not. And Amber, let's face it, Amber can be volatile. She's not a person that can really hold in things for too long.
Right.
So where some people can, you know, let it roll off their backs, or you know, just force themselves to go to bed and see what happens the next day. She's not one of those people, and so I don't think that. I think in her own way she was sticking up for herself, and so I don't necessarily have, you know, huge concerns with something like that. It's if you're getting 1,000 comments and 999 of them are vile, it's going to take a toll on even the strongest person.
Yeah.
So I think that take that for, in my opinion, take that for what it is.
I mean, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And I think, you know, seeing like all the hate she was getting was one of the reasons why I kind of reached out to her. I was like, oh my gosh, she's getting like why. I think it's warranted that people not be okay with the situation and care more about, you know, the victim and the children. Obviously I do. Obviously my main concern is always the children, and I do feel that Andrew is a victim.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
But I
you know,
just
there's no disputing that.
Right.
I mean, but you know, like I've always said, I mean, to me, the ultimate victim in this is always the kids, and the fact that, you know, there's a baby involved. I mean, but like I said on the onset of this. There's resolution to this, so now I think people need to let them heal. I really do. I mean, you may not agree with the resolution, but it's resolution nonetheless. And I think that goes for, you know, Andrew too. I mean, can you imagine how sick he must be of talking about this?
Right.
Because this has been his life since July. And, you know, and when you played the victim impact statement, he kind of alludes to the fact that now he needs to grow and move on and, you know, kind of start his life over. And I think that we need to let them. I really do.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Someone asked a question. It's kind of confusing me. Someone said, so wait a minute. Matt couldn't wait to tell his side, and now we find out this dude is talking to her. He just admitted it, and now all he can do is defend her. Matt, you haven't talked to Amber, right?
No, I haven't talked to Amber. No.
Yeah, that comment was confusing me. Brandy, he didn't say that he's talked to her. We're talking about like on the Instagram live where she went off on the rant. I'm confused. Yeah, Matt hasn't talked to Amber in a while.
I read her comment too, and I'm a little confused as well. But I mean, they're saying I couldn't wait to tell my side. I don't have a side. I wasn't there, so I was just asked my opinion.
Yeah.
And I gave it.
Yeah, I'm getting a little confused as to what's going on, but yeah, Matt hasn't talked to Amber, and Matt's been very clear that as far as like what went on between Andrew and Amber, he really can't speak on. All he can speak on is his experience that he shared with her, and he can that's kind of all he can really speak on.
Yeah, I mean that's all I really know. I mean, I haven't talked to Andrew. I haven't talked to Amber. You know, what I know about that night in question is the same thing everybody else knows. I know Amber from a different perspective than a lot of people do. You know, but I don't have any other information on what happened that night. And anything I would think I know would be pure speculation, and I don't speculate.
Yeah, it's hard trying to get this dude to speculate.
Yeah, I won't speculate because that's not fair. Because if I speculate, there's a good chance I'm going to be wrong, and that's not fair to anybody.
Someone said, how does Amber attract such articulate, respectable men, i.e. Andrew and Matt? What's her allure? She's a pretty person. I mean, she's pretty.
She's intelligent, too. She's extremely intelligent. You know, I did talk to somebody who had a conversation with Andrew one time, and a similar question to that got posed, and the beginning, from what I was told, what he experienced in the beginning of the relationship and the side of Amber that he saw was very similar to the side I saw. But what's different between the way our relationship started, and I think most people don't realize or forget this, that Amber and I were friends for 8 months prior to ever meeting. We would talk 3-4 hours a day on the phone, on Skype, all kinds of stuff. So we got to know each other on a friendship basis first. So as far as articulate, Amber's intelligent. She's very intelligent, especially about subjects that interest her. She can talk for hours on certain things. I really think that there's a certain section of people out there that they have an image of her in their head of being uneducated or just this trashy old person. She's not. She's really not. I think that's the side that people see when she lashes out or when something like this happens. But she's very intelligent, and I think Andrew would probably say the same thing. Andrew's an intelligent guy, so I don't think he'd want to be with somebody who's an idiot, and she's really not. She's a very bright person, very bright.
And I've always said that I think that she's really pretty.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but there's more to people than that, obviously.
Okay, someone said, Matt, do you think it would help Amber in the long run to do inpatient care than to continue doing what she's doing?
Katie, sorry. Sorry, Leslie. Leslie, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Do you think it would benefit her to do inpatient care rather than like outpatient or just go into a psychiatrist or something like that? Do you think she needs inpatient care?
I'm not a doctor. I have no idea. I have zero medical training, and I couldn't answer that question fairly. I mean, I think she has a doctor, and if her doctor thinks she needs inpatient treatment, he would recommend it. I think that's why doctors go to school for 7 years, to answer questions like that. Oh, I've seen a lot of stuff about the Dr. Drew interview.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to throw one real quick thing out there. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a Dr. Drew apologist by any means. Him and I have had our moments. But when he's on that show, he's not hired as a doctor. He's hired as an interviewer. And I think that while people have every right to feel that he threw softball questions at her during that interview, that's what he's hired for. And I don't think that it's necessarily right to condemn him for that. That's his job. And in that particular case, I think that if he was speaking to her, I've seen Dr. Drew backstage, and the guy that you don't see on stage, he does not sugarcoat things with the cast backstage at all. If he has a problem with something, he's going to tell you. And he's going to use colorful terminology when he does it. So I don't think it's necessarily he's getting a fair shake, but that he's doing exactly the job that he's being paid for. And so, again, not a Dr. Drew apologist by any means, but that's pretty much what happened in that situation.
Gotcha. Someone said, let's see, do you feel that you cared for Leah more than Amber did when you guys were together?
Did I do what? I'm sorry?
Did you care for Leah more when you and Amber were together?
No, I wouldn't say more. No. It was we kind of had a routine down where I would have Leah in the morning, and usually we'd eat breakfast, go run errands, and do stuff like that. And then when Amber got up, she would spend her time with Leah. So no, I wouldn't say that wouldn't be fair for me to say that I spent more time with her. But Leah and I had a little routine, like every Friday night we went to the movies together, just her and I. We did a lot of stuff together, but no, it wouldn't be fair to say that I spent more time with her. I had her in the morning while Amber was sleeping, and I can already see the people typing comments that are going to say that's because she doesn't get out of bed. Back then, it was because she had insomnia, and she sometimes wouldn't fall asleep till 5 in the morning. So
Yeah.
I would hang with Leah until Amber woke up, and then we'd go from there.
Gotcha. Someone said, do you miss Leah?
Do I miss Leah? Terribly.
Yeah.
Terribly. Leah and I were very close, and that's one of the things that I've said. You know, one of the regrets is I never really got a chance to say goodbye to Leah, and I'm sure Leah was fine with it. I mean, she's a kid; she went on with her life, but you know, that did hurt because Leah and I were close, and I just adored her. So that was tough. Of course, I miss her. Absolutely. How can I not? She's a great kid.
That was something that I actually remember, like Amber crying about in the elevator, saying, like, how am I going to explain this to Leah? Like, that's Leah's best friend. She literally said that you were Leah's best friend. Did you see that?
Yeah, we were. No, I didn't see that, but Leah and I were extremely close, and you know, we had a lot of fun together. We did. She's such a great kid, but you know what? She's got great parents, and Leah's a smart kid. I mean, a really, really smart kid. So I'm sure she figured stuff out pretty quickly.
Yeah. I wonder if she would like to talk to you though. Like if anybody was to ask her, Leah, would you like to talk to Matt? Like I'm sure she would be like, sure.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think maybe right now, you got to remember, right now she's I don't know how much she's lost, but she's kind of lost Andrew now too, and that's probably more on her mind. You know, obviously, but
and her little brother, like now she's not gonna see her little brother the way that she normally would.
I mean, she's got bigger problems than me, obviously, but and it's been quite a while. But you know, if I ever have a chance to talk to her, I'd absolutely take it. I mean, I just adore that kid, but it's not my place to reach out to her. She has a family, and you know, that's not my place.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. Okay, trying to keep up with the chat. Leah learned resilience at a very young age.
Yeah, she did.
You guys, let's be respectful.
She's been through a lot. She's you know, I tell you though, Leah's tough. I mean, she was born on TV. I mean, she understands, you know, pressure. You know what I mean? She knows she's lived a different life than all of us have. I mean, everything in her life has been in the public eye, and I can say this from all the kids that I've had interaction with. And I give so much credit to all of their parents. They are so well adjusted, all of them. I mean, it's for living their entire life in front of a camera. That's not easy for anybody. But for kids, these kids are all very, very, very well adjusted, and I give each and every one of their parents a ton of credit for that. To keeping them grounded.
Right.
You know, and I think that's, you know, Macy and Taylor and Ryan and Mackenzie and, you know, Amber and Gary and Christina, all of them have done such a great job keeping those kids grounded. I can't give them enough credit for that.
Yeah, looking back, you know, like none of the kids seem like they're like snotty little butthole kids, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
They all seem pretty normal kids.
They are. They're just kids, and
right.
You know, and you know, you see them together, and they play like kids play, and they're. I told the story before, but I'll tell it one more time. That there was and I think I told this to you, the time that Leah and I were in a convenience store, and the clerk said to her, Leah was 7, I think, at this time, and the clerk said to her, I know who you are. And Leah said, of course you know who I am. Everybody knows who I am. I'm on TV.
Yep.
So I thought it was funny. And we went back and told Amber the story, and Amber very politely sat her down and said, you're no different than anybody else, you know, and really kind of gave her this isn't necessarily something to brag about speech. And, you know, I thought that was really cool.
Right.
To me, I thought it was funny. And she's like, no, I want her to just be a regular kid as much as she can be. And I think Gary and Christina do a really good job of that, too. A really good job. You know,
Yeah.
let them be kids.
All the
Because
kids
it's not-
seem very well adjusted and very grounded.
Yeah, they're very grounded.
Someone was asking about your book, and if you would write another book.
I would write another book for sure. I don't know what I'd write it about at this point, but I like to write. So, you know, I have some thoughts, but nothing that's made its way onto paper yet.
What about your first book? Do you want to mention that or no?
My first book?
Yeah.
The one that, the novel, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, what about it?
A lot of people don't know about that book.
Yeah, I wrote that in 2006, and I kind of wrote it for this kind of a self-therapeutic type situation, and I published it myself, and you know, wasn't something that I expected to sell or whatever. And then once I was on the show and the publisher got a hold of it, they reissued it. So, you know, I mean, there's not much to it. You've read it. I mean,
it's really a good book. Me and my sister have read it. I have not finished it though because it takes me a long time to read books. What's the title of it? Guys Don't Rat on Guys.
Yep.
Yeah, Guys Don't Rat on Guys. It's on Amazon.
I would assume.
I
don't really pay attention.
Yeah, and it's a really good book. Flossie finished it in like a day or something. But I haven't gotten to finish it yet. I'm still reading it, but it's a really good book. And then he has his other book that's You Have No.
Yeah, spell the word, Leslie.
Fucking.
Leslie spelling bad words. Yeah, yeah. That book I didn't actually write. The biography. It was actually written by a guy named Matt Richards, so I have a lot of respect for. He actually came up with the idea that, you know, hey, there's all this stuff about you. We should write a book, and so we agreed to do it. And I sat down for a few interviews with him, and he went ahead and wrote that, which I really appreciated. You know, the funny thing is I've never even read it.
Really?
But yeah, I didn't write the second one.
I didn't know that. I thought you did.
No, it was written by a gentleman by the name of Matt Richards, who used to have a website under the name Real Mr. Housewife. It was a popular, like, reality TV type vlog type thing. And yeah, he's a really good guy, a talented guy. So and yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's a really good dude. I enjoyed getting to know him.
Well, that's cool. Does Amber write her books, or does she have like a ghostwriter?
Amber had a ghostwriter for her book. Someone named Beth. I don't remember Beth's last name, but it's on the book cover. So yeah, she had a ghostwriter for that.
And how many books did Amber have? What, 2, maybe?
No, I think just one.
Just one?
Just the one. Yeah,
okay.
Her book got re-released with a new cover. You know, later on, a couple of years after it got released. But I read Amber's book. I actually enjoyed it. It was a good book.
I've not read her book. But I wish I had more time to read books because, yes, what was Amber's book?
It was Never Too Late.
Never Too Late. And Amber, still, it's never too late. Like, get it together, girlfriend. You can do it. It's not too late.
Lacey Leverett, yes. If you give Leslie your address, I'll send you an autographed book. Absolutely.
You can just email me, Lacey. Email me.
Someone wrote, do I think Amber is doing too much on Instagram Live? Yes. I do, but that's not my decision. I think that anybody who's in the public eye that does any of these Instagram Live type things, you're just asking for trouble, because I can't think of one time when social media has actually helped the celebrity. You only hear about when they step in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
true.
So I I think that less, in my opinion, less social media is better.
I agree. I don't really do, like, I literally got a Twitter and an Instagram, I think right before I started doing YouTube maybe, and I still, like, there was something that I was trying to read earlier on Twitter and I didn't even know how to read it. I was like, where's the beginning of this? It was like a bunch of comments to this, like, one thing, and I was like, where? I'm so confused when it comes to it, but I do scroll through Twitter a lot, but I just don't comment a lot. I don't really, I don't know.
Cassandra Smith, to answer your question about, she asked, did talking to Dr. Drew feel like talking to a real doctor or some other person in the MTV payroll? Backstage, it felt like talking to a real doctor who said the F word a lot. Because he's just a regular guy, you know. He talks like a regular guy, but he's super smart, man. He's a really, really sharp dude. And Amber and I and Christopher actually went on his HLN show that he had years ago, and he's the type of guy where, and I think Amber would probably say this, he used to call Amber every year on her birthday. If she, you know, he gave out his phone number if anybody had a problem. So, yeah, talking to him was like talking to a doctor off stage. On stage, it was like talking to somebody who was on the MTV payroll.
Did Matt
anybody who wants a book, just give your addresses to Leslie and email, and I'll send you a book.
Okay, Matt said if you want a book, send me your email and we'll get you a book. Let's see. I just saw something. Matt, did you ever meet or run into Andrew on Marriage Boot Camp?
I did not. I don't remember seeing Andrew once, and I've said this before. I think I would have remembered him because he's like 6'9". So
yeah.
I think I would remember that. No, I don't remember ever seeing him. Not one time. I may have, and it just slipped my mind, but I certainly didn't have any interaction with him. In fact, we didn't have any interaction with any of the crew, except, you know, the PA who was assigned to us. But other than that, it's a lot different than filming Teen Mom, where we have a lot of interaction, a lot of breaking of the fourth wall with Teen Mom. Marriage Boot Camp, you know, I remember we'd be sitting on the couch and I would say something to the cameraman and they couldn't answer me. They might nod their head, but they weren't allowed to interact with the cast at all. So, no, I never, I don't remember even seeing Andrew there.
Wow. That's crazy. That you didn't even see him. And then him and Amber, like, after you left, they somehow, which he did say that he tried to make sure he was, like, in the confessional or something with her sometimes when she would go into film. Because he was like, I guess.
Hold on. If he was the confessional guy, then yeah, I did see him, but he was sitting down. So maybe, because I do remember the guy who sat in the little confessional room had a beard, but maybe that was him. I don't know.
He did say that.
Usually in those confessionals, I was in there defending myself, and
right.
It was pretty beaten down when I went in there, so I didn't pay attention a lot.
Yeah, I think he said that once he like saw her and kind of become like he fancied her a little bit, he tried to make sure he could be places where she was, and that was one of the things that I remember him saying is he tried to get in the confessional as much as possible when he knew that she would be in there.
Well, and that's okay. I mean, I think that I've seen people make comments in the past that, you know, he targeted her or whatever. I really believe he truly loves her. I really do. And I think Amber would tell you, when I found out about the relationship and that they were together, I was very supportive. You know, she seemed really happy, and I was like, I'm happy for you. You know, all I ever wanted was for her to be happy, just like I wanted me to be happy. I never had any hard feelings at all towards Andrew. I mean, I saw on the show, or somebody told me on the show that he had, or on social media or whatnot, he made a couple of nasty comments about me, but so was everybody else. That doesn't bother me. You know, you know, and it's not easy to, I mean, nobody likes your current girlfriend's X. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't mind, but it's, I've never had any issue with them or their relationship back then. Not at all. I truly just wanted her to be happy, and I think that there's too many relationships that end that all you want is for the other person to be miserable. I never felt that about Amber, ever. And to this day, I don't feel that. I want everybody to be happy, just like I want to be happy, and I want you to be happy, and everybody else. I don't think it's always possible.
Right.
But, I have absolutely no ill feelings towards Amber or Andrew or anybody in Amber's family or MTV, nothing. I'm just not wired that way, I guess. And, there's been things over time that have annoyed me, but it doesn't get past that. I only try to remember and focus on positive times. Somebody texted, put in the chat, how has my life changed since Teen Mom? It's quieter, that's for sure. But my life really hasn't changed all that much, because remember, all they were doing was filming my life. I mean, I don't know. I would definitely say it's slower than it used to be. I mean, because while we didn't work, so to speak, all that much, we did a lot of traveling, and there was a lot of, there was a lot of phone calls and, production type stuff or whatever. And believe me, I'm not complaining about that life in any way. I'm just saying it's a lot slower. When you're on a show like that, wherever you go, whether it's the grocery store, the gas station, the gym, it doesn't matter. You're constantly answering questions about the show. The questions are less frequent now. And so I would say that's one way it's changed. But I will also say this. Teen Mom fans are the most amazing people in the world, because they can remember details about a show that was 5 years old that are just, their recollection is shocking to me. Like, I had a woman not too long ago said, "Do you remember that episode where you were wearing that gray shirt?" I'm like, "No." I really don't. "Oh, yeah, and then you said this to Amber, and she said this to you." I said, "Well, no, how long ago was that?" "Oh, that was from your first season on there." I'm like, wow. I have trouble literally remembering a conversation I had yesterday. And, so the fans are really passionate, and they are true fans of the show. And I think a lot of them are invested in the cast members, especially the women on that show. A lot of them grew up. One of the most frequent comments I get, Leslie, is, "I was a teen mom, so I can really relate to them." And I think that's really cool. I really do. I think that they, again, they don't always like the decisions and the choices that the cast makes, but right. I think the majority of the fans really do care about their well-being. I really believe that.
Yeah. I definitely related because I was a teen mom as well, so it just kind of like drew me in. My life, like, I don't know, like Macy and Chelsea, like my life was kind of almost the same as theirs as far as like their baby daddy issues. Like when I had Paris, it was like I had a baby, he didn't. He continued his partying ways, having different girlfriends behind my back. So it was crazy to watch people go through the same exact thing. But I have a pretty good memory too when it comes to Teen Mom, because I have been watching it since literally the first time it played. And I remember when you were wearing that gray I remember you in the gray shirt, Matt. No, I'm just kidding. But it is true. Like, we do remember a lot of things that went on. Someone said, ask Matt how his sobriety is going. Any tips for someone who has a family or friend going through addiction?
My sobriety is going well. Thank you. Any tips? Everybody's different when it comes to addiction, but if you have a family member that's going through this, try desperately to separate the person from the addiction. And, addicts that are going through recovery or attempting to go through recovery or are still active really need as much love and support as you can give them. And honestly, you don't have to love the action to love the person. And I know I kind of say that a lot, but try at times to separate the person from the addiction. It doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form that it excuses any behavior that might happen, but in your own mind, try to say, would this person be acting this way had it not been for this substance? That's the only abuse. And try to get them help. Try to get them to let themselves get help, I should say. And also realize that a lot of people that try to get clean and try to get sober are going to fail a few times. I know I did. So don't get frustrated with them. And then at times, you just have to kind of let them go their own way, because you can get bogged down in their cycle, and that's not necessarily healthy for you either. So that's the only advice that I could give. I don't know if that helps.
Okay, I saw another question. Katie said, Matt, do you think that the therapists were scared of Amber on Marriage Boot Camp?
Oh, no, they're not scared of anybody. No. Especially Dr. V. That woman's not afraid of anybody. No, they weren't scared. They were... Amber, and I don't mean that she was trying to fool them, but they weren't fooled by her. They understood why she acted the way she did. And what they tried, and they did that with all of us, and they tried to get us to understand why we have the behaviors that we have. I can promise you that as professional psychotherapists, they've seen a lot worse than us. So, no, I don't think there was any fear in their eyes at all. Or I don't think they had any fear in any way at all. I think that they had concern for all of us. I can tell you that those doctors really do care, because I'm still in contact with Dr. Ish to this day, and he really does care about people. And I know that he's on TV, but that man is a doctor first. And I think he really wants to see all of the cast, all of us succeed.
Right.
I really believe that. They were really, really good people. Really good people.
Yeah, I like Dr. Ish and Dr. V. She seems dead serious, though. Like, trying to get her to laugh at a joke seems like it's not going to happen.
Dr. V?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's, yeah. I like Dr. V a lot. She's, I tell you what, she scared the bejesus out of me the first couple of days I was there. And I never thought of this, but somebody put in one of the chats one time when I spoke about Dr. V, I talked about how she stares at people, and somebody wrote that she does that because it's disarming of people. That actually makes a lot of sense. That's why she does it. But she stares at you an uncomfortable amount of time, and I always ended up looking away. I always lost that battle, but I kind of understand now why she did that. But no, she was very nice. She's just not. Dr. Ish is the chatty, jokey one. Dr. V is the opposite of that with the cast, but they were both equally effective, in my opinion.
Yeah, I liked them on the show, because when the show first started, it was different doctors. It wasn't these two. I like Dr. V and Dr. Ish. Someone asked,
I'm sorry, Leslie, that what did I think of my experience of Marriage Boot Camp, and did it help? It helped a ton. And I talked about this on Katie's stream about Marriage Boot Camp, that when the first, not to rehash the whole thing, but the first couple of days I was there, I wanted to be anywhere else in the world, because I walked into that house and I was public enemy number one, and I was getting it from every angle, and all I kept thinking was, thank God I'm getting paid for this, and I wanted to leave. I said it a couple of times that I just wanted to go home. After about day 4 or 5, there was nowhere else I wanted to be, because what they do on that show is they break you down to bare bones, and then they build you back up. So the first 4 days, all you see is you're getting your ass kicked on this show, and I'm thinking, where's the therapy in this? And then once they flip it and they start building you back up, kind of from the ground up, it is absolutely a life-changing experience. It was for me anyway. So when I left there, I really, truly felt like I was a better person than when I went in. I can't say enough about that show. And it's funny because I said after day 2, I can't believe I'm doing this. After day 10, I said I want to do next season. So what does that tell you? You know what I mean?
Right. Someone said, said, Matt, you're really helping others. You should start up a Twitter. So Matt had a social media. He had a Twitter. He had a Facebook and all that. But he don't have the information.
I still have them.
Yeah, he has it, but
I just can't get on there.
He just can't get on.
Let me tell you what happened, and I know you know this, but
yeah,
I have a Twitter and an Instagram. They're both verified accounts. I had a social media manager for the last, I don't know, let's say 6 months while I was on Teen Mom. And so anything that was posted came from this person. Well, when I left the show, I decided, you know what, I don't want to be on social media, so on and so forth. About a year later, I said, you know what, I'm going to get back on social media, and then realized I didn't know any of the passwords. So I contacted my former social media manager and said, hey, can I have my passwords to my Instagram and my Twitter? To which she responded, I have no idea what they are. So I contacted Twitter and said, I need to change my password. And they said, we're going to send you a link right now. The only problem is they sent the link to her old cell phone number. So they can't verify my identity to give me my passwords to any of this stuff. So if anybody has any tips on how I can get my password back or knows anybody at Twitter, tell them I need my password changed and I'll be back on social media tomorrow. But other than that, I can't do it. And as far as why I don't start a new one, well, there's a lot of fake me's out there. Why people would want to pretend to be me, I have no idea. But there's a lot of fake ones out there, so I need a verified account. And getting a verified account is not easy. And it took a long time to get that to happen, and I don't know if I'd be able to do it again. So that's the long and short of it.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked about that. And a lot of people are like, just get new ones. Well, it's a lot. You can't really.
Someone asked if I had a lot of problems with Amber's mom, or is that just for the show? No, I had no problems with Tanya. Tanya and I always got along. I mean, Tanya was like a mom to me. She was family, and I adored her, and I adore her to this day. I really do. The tension was pretty high on Marriage Boot Camp, and I don't know why it became what it became in the time that I was there, but that was extremely unusual for our relationship, and it kind of took me off guard, actually. But no, I love Tanya to death. She was always, from day one, has been very, very, and everybody in Amber's family was extremely good to me and they accepted me as part of the family from the day that I arrived. So I have no issues at all.
Yeah, they tried to make it out like Tanya didn't care for you a lot, but that really wasn't the case, was it?
Say that again, Leslie?
Like on Marriage Boot Camp, they tried to make it out almost like Tanya didn't like you or like she had problems with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's what they do. I mean, it's a TV show, and I mean, I'm sure Tanya, I wasn't her favorite person in the world. I mean, but we've never had a crossword between us, and but I've always said, or I was thought, that a lot of that, and I'm not speaking for Tanya, and I could be wrong on this, I think a lot of that her anger and stuff at first was for show. I really believe that. Because if you go back and watch those episodes, you see the look on my face, I'm like, where is this coming from? I see you all the time, and none of this has ever been mentioned before. But also keep in mind, this was the very end of Amber and I's relationship, and our relationship was not in a good place. And so, obviously, that's her mom. She's going to take up with her daughter, and I was the enemy, and I'm okay with that. That's a natural thing for a parent to do, I think. So, but I have absolutely no ill feelings towards her at all. I adore Tanya.
Yeah. Someone said, I wonder why Sean wasn't at Amber's court hearing. Well, he lives in Florida, and he
Yeah, he
works
lives in
too.
Florida. He's got a job and a family.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's around the corner. But, I guarantee you, if he had the opportunity to be there, he'd, of course, be there to support his sister.
Do you know who posts the clickbait articles on all their social media accounts?
Yeah, there's a company that does that.
It's so
I don't know what the
aggravating.
company is, but they don't do that themselves.
Do they get to see what goes up before it goes up, or no?
Oh, no. No. Someone asked me, is Janelle split from David real? I don't know. I can only guess, but I'm guessing yes. I'm guessing it is real. Because if this was just my opinion, if this was a ploy to get back on the show, then the ploy would be exposed sooner rather than later, and then they'd have to let her go again. So if that's the plan, it's not a very well thought out one. No, I think it's real. I really do. Having no inside information about that, but I think it's real, and it's unfortunate. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation, but I would assume that it's real. I don't know how long it'll last, but I think right now it's real.
Yeah, I think it's real as well. But I don't know if she's gonna be able to stay away. Like, I think there may be a chance that she reconciles with him, and then everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, look, it was fake. It was fake." But I just think it's because this is a situation where he's going to be really mean, and there's going to be times he's going to be really mean, and then there's going to be times to where he's calling her, begging her to come back, crying, swearing to God that he's going to change.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, Leslie? If and this is again hypothetical, if he does publicly become mean and spiteful and vindictive and so on and so forth, I'm saying if that happens, isn't that kind of the reason they're not together right now? So wouldn't you want to do the opposite if you want your wife back? I would think. So wouldn't be the best plan. But I've said this before, and I don't know Janelle all that well. I've only met her a few times, and the times that I have met her, I can tell you they were extremely pleasant times. I really enjoyed the time that I spent with Janelle. She and I think I told you this, Leslie, off privately, that I like Janelle a lot. I really do. She's been really nice to me. I only met David one time, and he was nice to me. So what happens in their life, I don't know much about. I know what everybody else knows, but somebody asked me today, do I think her leaving him had something to do with her wanting to get back on the show or get back on TV? Probably. I would think so. I mean, I think people need to understand that once you're on that show, and especially someone who was big on the show like Janelle was, it's not like she can suddenly go get a job at a car wash. You know what I mean? This is now their career. You've put yourself out there, and you've made your living on TV, and everybody knows who you are at this point. And in Janelle's case, not everything has necessarily been positive. It's not like she can go support herself another way, and she has a family to take care of. So I don't blame her for wanting to get back on TV. That's her job. My only concern in the whole thing would be, as long as she's safe, and I have no reason to believe that she's not, that's all I worry about. But
yeah.
This is another situation where it's a private matter that the parties involved have chose to make public, and that's unfortunate. I don't think going on social media and posting things about your former partner are the best way to win back your partner. I don't think that's so. I think there's a maturity issue involved there. But this question was, do I think that it's real? As far as I know, again, Janelle doesn't have me on speed dial by any chance. So, I just know that from what I do know about her, it just seems like it's real to me. I don't know how long it will last, and if they do reconcile, then that's her decision, and it's none of my business to say you shouldn't do that. So, as long as her and the kids are safe, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, yeah, as long as the kids and her are safe, that's definitely my main concern is them being safe.
Someone's written a couple of times about the Dr. Drew thing, and I will say it again, because they might have missed it before. No, he's not fake, especially off stage. He's extremely real and very therapeutic and very down to earth, and smart guy. On stage, it's a different persona. He's paid to do a job on stage, but off stage, he's a good dude. He really is.
This question gets asked a couple of times. Did Amber have any side jobs? Like she had that online boutique. Does she make money in any other way other than through MTV right now, or when you guys were together? Or
well, we used to flip houses together. She made money doing that, and then her boutique. So, and then in her book sales too, of course.
I wonder if she still does any at like the boutique or well, I know she don't flip houses anymore.
No, I don't think she does.
I wonder if her boutique is still up and running.
Amber's interesting. Amber's she has a very entrepreneurial spirit. She has a lot of ideas and things that she'd like to accomplish. At least when we were together, she did. And not all of them came to fruition, but it was her idea to flip houses. It wasn't my idea. I knew nothing about it. And she actually, did a lot of research on how that works, and she that was 100% her idea.
And did you guys make a good amount of money doing that?
Yeah, we did pretty well flipping houses. Yeah.
Thank you, Thunderbutt Holmes, for the super chat.
I do not flip houses anymore. No.
Yeah, Matt said he does not flip houses anymore, and I got a $2 super chat that says, I'm not even going to read what it says, but thank you for the super chat. Someone said, did Gary flip houses before Amber did?
No, he did it. He did it after we did it.
Okay. Did she
Someone
really?
asked if I miss Amber as a friend. Wow, that's a tough question to answer, because do I miss the person that was my friend before we were together? Absolutely, because she was my best friend before we got together. Do I miss her now? No, I don't. But I still want nothing but good things for her. But the person that was my best friend before we got together, yeah, that's a person that I'll always miss, because we spent so much time communicating 7 days a week, and talking about just every bit of our lives, and we got to learn so much about each other. Yeah, I mean, I of course I miss that portion of our friendship, but I would say that's it at this point.
Yeah. I could understand that as well. Like, there's people in my life that there's an aspect of them I miss, but then there's another aspect of them that I don't miss.
Yeah, and I think you can say that with every relationship that you don't have anymore. I mean, that I always find it strange when people break up and then have nothing but negative things to say about each other, because it wasn't negative things that brought you together. So right. I just always chose to focus on the reasons that we were together to begin with, rather than the things that split us up. So, someone asked if I have any advice on flipping houses. Yeah, buy cheap and sell high.
Buy cheap and sell high. Buy cheap and sell high. Let's see. Someone mentioned the fact that Gary sold condoms with his face on them. Yes, he did.
No, he didn't sell them. He didn't sell them. He gave them out. They were just a joke.
Oh, really?
An absolutely hysterical joke, by the way. I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
I thought he really did sell those.
I didn't think he did. No, If he did, I didn't know about it. But I remember when he got those, and those are pretty funny. Gary's a funny guy. He is, and if anybody's gonna have a condom with their face on it in that cast, it's gonna be him. So.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. What about Matt making condoms with his face on?
If there's places we could go that wouldn't allow you to film, and was that a problem? And how often did Amber react to that type of conflict? She didn't have any reaction to that type of conflict because when we were filming, if we were out somewhere, 9 times out of 10 it was set up in advance. That they'd have to get the location cleared. So, and then they'd have to go ahead of, or we'd sit in the car while they set the cameras up. So it's not like we said we want to go a certain place, and then what would happen is if we said we wanted to go somewhere, and they would call to see if they could get it cleared, and if they could, they would find a similar place where they could get cleared. That happened with restaurants a lot, and they'd say, well, we can't get this cleared, and so we're going to go to this restaurant instead. They have similar types of food. So, no, she didn't have any reaction to that. That was stuff that was set up in advance.
Someone said, out of all the cast, who did he dislike the most that he actually met?
All right. So, boy. I don't dislike anybody. So let me start off by saying that. I don't dislike any of the cast. In fact, I really like all of the cast. Of all the people that I met, who did I find the most kind of uninteresting? Is that a good way to say it?
Yes.
Was Chelsea. But I didn't have a ton of interaction with her. And I've said this before. It's not that she was unfriendly. She just kind of had I could kind of take it or leave it attitude, and where she just wasn't as interactive the time I saw her with everybody as everybody else was. So, but there's nobody I dislike at all. I mean, in fact, I have great affection for everybody on that cast in one way or another.
Yeah, I figured you was going to say with Michael that you probably got along the least.
He's not. I'm thinking of the cast. Michael. I don't think of Michael as the cast. Michael,
yeah, that's true.
Sarah's dad. I have no problem with Michael either. I've had very, very positive interactions with Michael. It just happens to be our last interaction ended with him in the front row. Other than that, I don't dislike Michael at all. Michael, when I first came on the show, and people were still, they were a little bit, they weren't really as interactive with me as they were later on because I was brand new. Michael Abraham was one of the people that probably embraced me the most the first year on that show. He was really, really nice to me. So I have no issue. The issue with Michael that happened was because of one specific incident, and I don't judge anybody by one incident.
Yeah, but that makes sense. It's best that you probably don't. I think a lot of people do, though. I do sometimes. I can judge people based off one incident. It's just the human part of me to do that. So it's good that you don't.
You know what, Leslie? I think when someone asks, is there anybody in the cast I dislike, I think that everybody expects me to say Farrah, and that's just not true. I mean, I've said this before, that the most common question that I have gotten, and I started with Teen Mom in 2013 or 14, whatever it was. The most common question I have had from people in all of those years is Farrah really like that? And so I can tell you that Farrah's another person where the interaction that I did have with her wasn't always negative by any means. Especially my first year on the show, the time I spent with Farrah, which wasn't an extreme amount of time, but, the conversations that I had with her were fine. She was very pleasant. I think that as time went on, that kind of changed, but I don't have any negative feelings towards Farrah at all. I think Farrah can be really cool. She really can be. She can be also not cool. But she's in person, she's always been nice to me. And that's all I can judge it on.
Hold on, I'm reading something in the chat. Matt, you doing these chats have really changed my opinion of you in a positive way. Farrah has changed a lot over the last few years. Her head has gotten too big. Matt, have you seen Farrah's tape?
Matt, do I think what?
Have you seen Farrah's tape? Don't lie, Matt. Don't lie.
Yeah, I have. Oh, yeah, I did. I'll tell you a funny story about, I saw somebody ask if Amber and I watched our tape together. No, but I'll tell you a funny story that we were laying in bed one night, flipping through channels, and the AVN Awards were on Showtime. And as we were flipping through it, who's on there being a presenter but Farrah? And in one of the categories, they showed a clip from Farrah's movie. And Amber immediately grabbed the remote, changed the channel, and yelled, "Oh my God, I can't look at Farrah's boobs!" and changed the channel. So, you know, it wasn't like we sat and watched the thing, but no, I saw it. I saw some of it. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing.
I had to see it.
Godfather.
I'm too nosy.
And I think it was more of I think probably, and I can't speak for everybody, but I think most people on the show would probably at least saw some of it just from a curiosity standpoint. But, you know, I mean, you've seen it, right, Leslie?
Oh, yeah. I had to.
Exactly. It's just kind of like it was kind of like a thing. But, you know, I can tell you that I don't look at Farrah and think porn star. I don't think that at all. I just know her as Farrah. So, you know, I don't really see her that way.
Yeah. Let me see. Leslie, did you show Matt that funny video of him I sent you? Yes, I think I did. Matt, didn't I send you that video?
The one in Puerto Rico?
No, the one where it was the ASMR one of the lie detector day.
Oh, yeah.
They're really funny.
Videos are funny.
Yeah, they're really funny. Let's see. Amber can't smoke now. She's on probation with drug tests. Do you think Amber will be able to steer clear of marijuana while she's on?
From my understanding, I've never been a weed guy, so my understanding is marijuana is not addictive, so I don't see why not. I don't know.
Is marijuana addictive? I don't know. I've seen some people that they claim they're not, but they can't stop, you know? Like, I can put it down anytime.
I've never smoked weed, so believe it or not. So I don't know. I can't speak intelligently about marijuana, honestly. Hey, can I throw a quick shout out to one of your subs?
Yeah.
Debbie Ring, big fan of Debbie Ring. And I got to tell you, Debbie Ring and I were Twitter friends before Amber and I got together. And when I was driving to Indiana, moving to Indiana, or was going up to visit. Anyway, going to Indiana for the first time, Debbie Ring and I were on the phone together. So that's how far back Ring and I go. And I just want to tell you, great human being, Debbie Ring.
She said that earlier.
It's cool to see her as being one of your subs because she's just good people.
She actually said that earlier. She was like, me and Matt were friends before he got with Amber. And I was like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah. In fact, we spoke as I was driving to Indiana. Oh, I think it was when I was moving there, and I was probably a little bit nervous, and I think I called her, and I'm like, Ring, am I making the right decision? So the Debbie Ring is partially responsible for me ending up in Indiana.
Debbie. Debbie. Debbie was like, go. She's famous.
Yeah, she is just a good person. You know, she's just good people, and I can't say enough good things about her.
Well, I'm glad she's in the chat.
And I was so psyched when I haven't spoke to her in years, and when I saw her in your chat one day, I was like, oh my God, it's Ring. Ring is good people, and I don't say. I have just good memories of talking to Debbie, so I'm really glad that, and at least this way we got to reconnect.
Aw, that's so sweet. How did you and Debbie become friends? Just through social media?
You know, yeah. It was through Twitter, and Ring, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was during my making really bad jokes about Janelle days during my drug days, and I think Ring used to laugh at some of the stuff that I would say, and then we just kind of became friends. I could be wrong, but yeah, it was prior to Teen Mom. That's for sure.
That's pretty cool. Someone that knew Matt before he was Amber's ex-boyfriend, Matt.
Yeah. Ring's known me the longest here.
Yeah, she said, what did she say a while ago? Yeah, I knew about Amber before the rest of you did.
Yep, she did. And she kind of, when I was having kind of an anxiety attack about leaving Boston and driving and going to Indiana. I mean, I was simply just nervous because it was Indiana, and I was kind of leaving everything behind. And Debbie kind of helped calm me down on the drive. In fact, she spoke to me on the drive all the way through Pennsylvania. So thank you, Debbie Rick.
That's pretty cool. So you and Amber, after 8 months of like being best friends over the phone, she asked you to come out, right?
Yeah. What had happened was she had said, you know what? We said, we should get together. You should come out here and visit. And so I drove out there to visit her, and I was supposed to stay 2 days, and we had so much fun together that I ended up staying 9 days. And then I drove home, and it's kind of funny. I got home, and I was home 13 hours. Amber had called me and said, listen, if we're going to try to do this relationship thing, you can't be there. You have to be here. So her exact words were, pack your bags and grab your pictures off the wall and come back. I was back in Massachusetts for a total of 13 hours, and then I turned around and drove back. And then you guys know the rest.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was I certainly don't have any bad memories of that time, for sure.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun together. We really did.
Good night, SLS. Someone said, okay, I'm really leaving now. Good night, y'all. Matt, what was the nicest thing Amber ever said or did for you?
Wow. That's a good question. The nicest thing she ever did or said, she did a lot of nice things for me. And all right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you that I told Leslie this before. I don't know if I should tell the story, but I will anyway. I think everybody knows that Amber and I have a 19-year age difference. I don't think that's a big secret. One night I was sleeping, and I woke up to the sound of Amber crying, sobbing, hard crying. And I woke up and I couldn't figure out what was wrong, and I asked her if she was okay. And she said, it just dawned on me, with our age difference, you're going to die 20 years before me. And what am I going to do with the rest of my life then? That was probably one of the nicest things anybody's ever said to me, believe it or not, if you think about it. She was visibly upset at the thought of, at that time, at the thought of having to live what she assumed to be 20 years of her life without. And I don't think that she could have given me a better compliment than that. So I hope that answers the question.
Aw, that is sad. Like, if anybody sits there thinking about how long they may have to live without their spouse, that's not something I've ever thought about. Like, is Shine going to pass before me? Am I going to pass before him? What's it going to be like if he pass? Oh, just about showed my boobs. What's it going to be like if he does pass before me?
Yeah, and I think that, I look back on that moment now and to remember how upset she was, and that right there tells you that there's a complete other side to her that people don't see.
Right.
She really, really, really does have a big heart, and in that particular moment, she was upset, and I don't think I've gotten too many compliments that were that good in my entire life, but she's done a lot of really nice things and said a lot of nice things and done a lot of nice things. She really has. I can't, that's the one that jumps out at me the most, but, yeah, I mean, they were numerous. They were very numerous, the kind things that she did.
Matt has answered this before, but we'll go ahead and ask him again. Ask Matt if he would ever take Amber back.
No, and I wouldn't take no. And the main reason is that it would never work. I don't have those types of feelings for Amber anymore. She doesn't have those types of feelings for me. We had our time. It didn't work for various reasons, and no, absolutely not. And I could also say that Amber would never take me back. So it's not it's not just like I'd be making that decision. No, I don't think we have those feelings anymore. And those have been gone a long time. So no.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, either one of you would want to get back into a relationship like that, because
no, never, no. But I mean, if that's not to say that I have negative feelings towards Amber. I don't have any negative feelings towards her. I want nothing but good things for everybody in that family going forward. I really do. But there are people that are just not meant to be together, and we were two people that just, in the long run, weren't meant to be together. And that's just how I look at it. I don't see it as placing blame on anybody. I don't see it as one particular thing. I just see that, it didn't work out, and there's never a reason to go backwards. So, no.
I agree. Don't go back into something that while you were in it, you were trying to figure out how you could get out of it. I mean, I said, yeah. I agree. Like, don't go back into something that while you were in it, you were trying to figure out how to get out of it.
Right. I think that, I think Amber and I's relationship probably went on a year longer than it should have, because we did really, really care about each other. But I think that we both knew that, there was just things on both sides that weren't going to, that neither of us could get past, and so on and so forth. So I think that we tried, but, once it was over, it was over. Mm-hmm. Like I said, when I left marriage boot camp, that was the last time Amber and I have ever laid eyes on each other. So there was, that really tells you there was resolution to things. Someone wrote, do I think that Amber will ever publicly or privately apologize to Andrew? I think that if Amber feels like she did something wrong, then I think, yeah, she probably would privately. I would think so. I don't know. But if she feels that apology is necessary, Amber's not against apologizing for something if she thinks she's wrong, but it's just that she doesn't often think that she's wrong.
Right, yeah. That's what I was going to say. She really, most of the time, doesn't think that she's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us want to admit that we're wrong. I mean, but, I can't speak for Amber about what she feels about the situation. I can't. I think that, and I don't think I should. I think that that's something that should be private between Amber and Andrew.
Mm-hmm. I think it's something that he needs. I mean, that's something that he said in that statement is one of the reasons why the relationship is there's no going back is because she lacks accountability. She refuses to take accountability for what she's done, and she has yet to apologize.
Well, that we know of.
Right.
That we know of. Someone asked, let's see, if I had one regret do I have one regret in my life, what would it be? I think that this is pretty obvious. I think I would go back and redo parenthood. I think that, I think that's the one regret that I have, that I spent a lot of years being much better to my addiction and to my selfishness than I was to my children. I think that's one regret that I'll always have. That's one that's not going to go away. But other than that, I don't regret a whole lot. There's things I would do differently, obviously. I think everybody has that, but that's the one I think regret that I have. But luckily, my kids have all turned out wonderful in spite of me. So I think that's a blessing in itself.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to see at least one of your children on Teen Mom. That was pretty cool.
Well, actually, you saw
Wait.
on the, well, I don't know if you saw on the special. Like
Yeah,
they brought the special too.
I was gonna say, never mind, because we saw.
And you know, I could not be more proud of my kids. They're amazing. So again, amazing in spite of me, and I think that just shows how special they really are.
Someone said, did Matt's relationship with Amber contribute to his relapse? Like, did he relapse when things started getting bad?
No, I relapsed because I'm a drug addict. That's not anybody's fault but my own. No. In fact, Amber, if anything, Amber kept me sober probably longer than I should have been. You know, she was really, really good with when it came to, because remember, she was sober at the time and she was going through a lot of the same things. So, you know, she helped support me in my stuff. But no, I would never say that my relationship was responsible for any relapse I had. Any relapse I had because I'm a drug addict. And that's unfortunately sometimes what drug addicts do.
I do want to say that I do not like when a recovering addict blames their relapse on someone else. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Like for someone to say, I'm gonna relapse because of you did this and you did that. It's just kind of like, what? Put your big boy panties on. It's nobody else's fault if you relapse other than yourself.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, early on in my first or second or fifth recovery, I probably did a lot of that. But it wasn't until I realized that it was me and not anybody else responsible for this behavior that I really could take sobriety seriously. So, you know, I'm at the point now, someone asked how my sobriety's doing. I'm at the point now where I don't wake up in the morning anymore and think about anything drug-related. And to me, that's a huge hurdle. Because for a long time, it was a struggle. I'd wake up in the morning and think, all right, I really need to focus on sobriety today. I don't really need to do that right now. At least today, I don't need to do that. So I think that's a good step. I don't think about it too often. There are times that in my life that I would think, boy, this would be a whole lot easier if I was high right now. But you know, it's not forefront of my mind anymore, and I think that's a good place to be. And all I can say is I hope it lasts. I can guarantee nobody that it's going to last, but I certainly hope it does. And if I do take a step backwards, I just hope it only affects my life and not anybody else's, because I had a tendency. I was a life destroyer back then.
Aww.
You know what I mean? Because I had people that cared about me, and I didn't care about anything but myself, and I would leave a path of destruction behind me. So now my only hope is if I ever do take that step backwards, the only life I hurt is mine, and I think that's a good place to be too.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that you're doing so much better, and that you said now you can wake up and you're not thinking automatically about your addiction or drugs or anything like that. Thank you so much, Sassy Sandra, for the super chat. She said, Matt, much respect. Love you on it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's see. Did filming make you relapse?
No. Filming didn't make me relapse. You know, filming, I can't say that I always filmed sober, that's for sure. But, no. Filming, it didn't make me relapse. And cause that would be unfair to say. I wasn't 100% sober when I started filming Teen Mom. Amber didn't know that at the time. She knows that now. But I wasn't completely sober then. I think the nerves that I had about being on TV and so on and so forth probably didn't make me get sober any quicker, but I wouldn't say that it was a contributing factor. No, no, that wouldn't be fair to say. Again, I can only say that the reason I took drugs is because I'm a drug addict, and there's no outside force that's stronger than that. That's not going to make me do more drugs. I was just doing them because I did them.
Yeah. Okay, somebody said, what about when Caitlin threw you under the bus for sharing your pills?
Yeah, I remember that. I told the story before, but I'll tell it again. They weren't my pills, first of all. I wasn't a benzo guy. I didn't take anxiety medication. And I told the story before. What had happened was Amber has and I don't know if she still has it, but she had it back then, a paralyzing fear of flying. So back then, it was not the worst idea to have a Xanax pill handy in case she flipped out on an airplane. She really is scared of flying. It's not like a fake thing. She is powerfully scared of flying. So I had 2 Xanax pills, one for the flight to New York and one for the flight home. We were backstage, and Caitlin was having an anxiety attack. And she said, does anybody have a Xanax? And without thinking, I said, I've got one. So I didn't think anything of it at the time. I can also say that weekend was the highest I have ever felt Teen Mom. And to the point where I had a conversation with Larry, one of the producers, that apparently lasted well over an hour. The very next day, I came up to him and started the exact same conversation, and he said, we had this conversation for an hour yesterday. Don't you remember? And I said, I don't even remember seeing you yesterday. So that was a pretty tough weekend for me. I was completely blasted out of my mind for that. But yeah, I just answered the question and said, yeah, I've got one, here you go. And it turned into something bigger than it was. And I was not going to throw Amber under the bus and say, this isn't mine. This is hers. I wasn't going to do that. I just said, yeah, I gave it to her. And then everybody assumed that I was like a drug dealer. No, I wasn't. And let me be clear about something. Amber didn't have an issue, wasn't taking these things on a regular basis. It was literally prescribed for specific events like flying and so on and so forth. She did not have a benzo problem. So, and I think that's another example of me. I just kind of took that one on the chin and said, okay, that's what people want to think, but it was very innocent. It was, and does anybody have a Xanax? Yeah, I've got one. Here you go. And I just pulled it out of my pocket and handed it to her. And then apparently it blew up into something that it wasn't. And that's okay.
Someone said, everyone please pray for Jordan tonight. Absolutely. We will keep Jordan in our prayers. Yeah, they portrayed it on the show as Amber got mad because you had it, when that was not the case.
I know they did, and that wasn't true. So, I think it was a situation where she was kind of caught off guard by it and had a natural reaction of why do you have this? And what's interesting about that is after that little segment that you see on the show, it never got mentioned again. It's not like it was this big source of contention because she knew where it came from. We didn't even talk about it after that. So it was a much bigger deal to everybody else than it was to us, And I wouldn't say Caitlin threw me under the bus by any means. She probably thought there was more to it than it was. Caitlin's wonderful, and I love Kate. I don't think she was in any way throwing me under the bus. I think it was just a series of unfortunate events, and that just kind of dominoed into Matt's a jerk. So,
well,
you will find back then that a lot of roads led to Matt's an asshole. So that's okay.
Someone said, why would you give Amber Xanax away if she needed it to fly home? Well, that was the thing. That was really the reason she got upset, right?
If memory serves, I can't stress this enough. I was so out of it that particular day that I can't tell you. If memory serves, I think that's why she was upset that she didn't have it to fly home. But I could be wrong. Maybe I think it might have more been she was upset that I don't know that the way it looked that I gave it to her. I don't even really remember that.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that big of an incident. But again, I cannot stress enough how out of it I was that weekend, and I was embarrassingly high that weekend. Like normally, back then I was a functioning drug addict. I was barely functioning that weekend, to the point where Amber got really, really upset with me because of how out of it I was. And I could, a lot of times I could play the "I'm not high, you're imagining things" card. There was no playing that this weekend, that weekend. And so I was, she kind of left me alone. And I remember she went out with, I think, Kate Macy or something for the night in New York, and just kind of left me alone to stew in my own misery, which I deserved. She was pretty upset with me for good reason, because I probably embarrassed her. I could barely speak, and that's one of the things I look back on. I'm probably the most ashamed of from a filming standpoint, because I didn't represent her well that weekend. I was way too out of it, and I felt terrible for her. Not even for me. I felt terrible for her because she had to do a lot of sticking up for me back then, and I wasn't helping my own cause that weekend by any means.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a good, that whole part, though, the way they portrayed that. I remember when you told me about the incident over the phone, when you kind of told me that it wasn't really that she didn't know about it, that whole thing. I was shocked to find that out, too. I was like, wait, what? She didn't know about she knew about the Xanax? Because that was literally how they portrayed it, was that she didn't. So.
Well, I think, too, that in Amber's defense, I think that she probably, not to speak for her, but she probably thought that people might judge her because she occasionally had to take a Xanax to fly because of her past drug history. So I don't think she wanted anybody to know. And I am standing here telling you she did not abuse Xanax in any way, shape, or form. But I think that that's what she was potentially was afraid people might think. And so I think me without even thinking, saying, "Here, Caitlin, I've got one," could have they put her in a really uncomfortable situation. And I think had I been thinking clearly, I would have just said nothing and said, "No, I don't have anything." But I didn't have the ability to form a complete thought that weekend. And I think that going back, if I could do that over again, I wouldn't have given it to her. So I regret that. I'm happy that it helped with her anxiety, with Kate's anxiety attack, but it wasn't my job to do that, and that's a poor decision on my part.
Okay. So, anybody else got any questions for Matt before we call it a night? Because it's 11:30 here my time. Matt, it's what? 9:30 your time?
Vegas is 2 hours behind you, Miss Leslie.
Then it's 9:27. Yeah. Yes, please spill the 90-day tea on Muhammad and Danielle, which you already did, right? You already did.
Yeah, I already did. It was, it's just a story about, you already told the story. It's not as funny now, but it was, all I could say is from what I heard that the crew, could smell things.
The crew smelled things. So
what I heard.
Not only did Muhammad smell Danielle, but the crew did too, apparently.
That's what I heard. I wasn't there, but that's what somebody told me. So
that's what Matt was told.
I don't know. That poor woman. Let's leave the poor woman alone.
Yeah. Okay, so Flossie said, "Ask him who won the game. Who won the game?"
Flossie, we'll discuss this another time.
Well-
Shouldn't Flossie be in bed right now?
Yeah. Flossie probably is laying in
Yes,
bed watching
my
this.
Patriots lost their first game tonight. Yes.
Patriots lost their first game tonight. Okay. Let's see. What else we got? And then I think it's an infection, you guys. I honestly think it's an infection. And hopefully she's gotten it taken care of by now. Hopefully she got her some penicillin, moxicillin or something, and she's no longer smelly.
Debbie Ring asked, didn't I have a pug? And what happened to him? That's Axel. And he's actually a puggle, not a pug. He's a puggle.
A puggle?
Yeah, I've had Axel since, 2005. Yeah, Axel and I have been through a lot together. He's my guy.
You have to send me a picture because I don't remember seeing. I'm sure I saw Axel on TV though, right?
Oh yeah, Axel was a camera hog. He, I'll tell you a really funny story about Axel from one of the first days that I filmed. Is our old director Heather was in the house and she used to carry this big like Louis Vuitton looking purse thing she had on the floor, and we were filming, and Axel was apparently feeling uncomfortable because we all turned around and looked, and Axel was peeing inside Heather's purse. So that was Axel's introduction to Teen Mom.
Oh,
but,
wow.
Yeah, he got to know the crew pretty well, and he used to mug for the camera quite a bit.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to see. Let me do something really quick.
Yes, Debbie Ring. He used to be my profile picture on Twitter back in the day. That's how long I've had him. The dogs potty in the house on a regular basis? Yeah. Unfortunately, they did. And I can tell you that I have gotten so much better at this, but as much as we loved our dogs, and we really, really did love our dogs, we were not the best dog parents for a while there because it became overwhelming. And when we first had all the dogs, we didn't have a fenced-in backyard. So, and I know that I could have done a better job at house training them at the time. Yeah, it was tough, the first house we were in with all those dogs. At the end, it was fine. You know, once we got the big house and, you know, we got the fence put up and so on and so forth. But, yeah, I look back and then say we really did dote on those dogs, but we were horrible dog trainers. Lazy. I could say we were lazy about it. And yeah, not proud of the condition of the house, the first house we lived in. How many dogs did we have? We had 7 dogs.
Wow.
We had 7 at one time, and we the 2 little Chihuahuas, Uski and Booski, actually had puppies together. That's why we ended up with 7. So yeah, and then we all total that's what we had, and we loved those dogs so much that it would have made sense to give the puppies away, but we just couldn't do it. We were instantly attached to them once the puppies were born, and you know those dogs were. I know it seems like an excessive amount, and I don't recommend anybody have 7 dogs, but they were as much part of our family as anybody else was. We loved every one of those dogs.
So okay. I think I may have found a picture of. Is your dog black and white with brown around the mouth?
No, Axel's brown. He's brown, and he looks like a pug with a pointy face.
Okay, well,
Leslie, I'll send you a picture when we're not doing this.
Okay, well, I found a picture online of you with a dog. That's why I was.
What does the dog look like?
It's a little dog, black, mainly black. It kind of goes into a V down on its neck. It's got like a V neck that's white right here.
Is it a Chihuahua?
Yeah, it looks like it could be a Chihuahua.
Yeah, that's Uski. Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's Uski.
And she kept Uski?
Yeah. When I left, I only took Axel, and that Axel I've had, since the day he was born. So that was my dog. I wasn't gonna separate the dogs from Amber. Amber loves those dogs, so that wouldn't have been right for me to do.
I wonder if she has the dogs now. Well, I know there's a picture. She posts pictures sometimes of her with a dog.
Well, I can tell you that the big dog that she has,
Yeah.
The huge mastiff, that's Maddie, and we got Maddie 2 months before Amber and I split. So she was just a tiny little thing when we got her, and now she's, 250 pounds? She's the
big
sweetest
dog.
dog in the world. Mastiffs are really, really friendly and lovable dogs, and that was Amber's dog. That they are exceptionally close.
I really wouldn't take her to be like a pet owner, like a pet lover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She loves animals. Absolutely. Absolutely loves animals.
I think it's just because like they're very like, you know, it's a lot of responsibility to handle a dog.
Yeah, it is, and I can tell you, I didn't do a great job of that. We love them so much, but I think there was a time where we both realized this is just so much work, you know. And but I don't know. I don't regret any of them. I just love them to death, all of them. They were just they were. It was funny sometimes sleeping with all the dogs on the bed, you know, because they all slept on the bed, every one of them. So that was you know, you ended up sleeping in a little ball sometimes. In fact, she used to sleep on my pillow, which they had their little spots, and yeah, they was just part of life.
My kids do that. And I end up sleeping on the floor sometimes. Like, I will literally get up and just get on the floor and, like, grab a blanket and get on the floor because there's so many kids in the bed with us.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. Somebody asked me the other day if I miss the dogs. Yeah, I do. But especially the little ones, because, you know, I saw them being born. I mean, they were great. They were all so well behaved too. That's the crazy thing. You know, you would think some of them would have an attitude. They didn't. They were all just the sweetest, most loving dogs in the world.
Someone said, what happened to the cat?
Which cat?
I don't know.
We had a couple. If they're talking about Apollo,
they said it was
geez,
funny.
I hope Amber's not listening to this because this is going to make her cry. Our cat Apollo actually got out one night, and we went to the store and we came back and we saw it right in the middle of the street. It got hit by a car. It was horrible. Horrible, horrible night. Amber was devastated because she loved that cat.
Oh my goodness.
And he was not an outside cat. That's the thing. He got out somehow, and yeah, it was a terrible night.
That's sad. Does Axel have a buddy? You are Axel's buddy, right?
Does Axel have a mommy? Is that what they said?
A buddy.
Oh, yeah, me.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, Axel and I are exceptionally close.
I remember hearing Amber scream, "Shut up" at them on Team Mom. It stood out to me. What, the dogs?
I don't think I can't remember. She's probably talking to me. To be honest with you, she didn't yell at the dogs. So I saw somebody. I meant to answer this question. Somebody asked if she ever lost her temper with the dogs. No, never. No, she was probably talking to me when she said, "Yell, shut up."
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I ever remember her. I don't ever remember her getting angry with the dogs, but I do remember thinking, like, I remember their dogs being outside of the thing, and then one, like, who got on the roof one time? Was that a cat? They got on the roof.
I don't remember that.
Do anybody in the chat remember that, where one of the animals got up on the roof or something?
I don't remember that.
Please ask Matt if he thinks Amber prefers dogs because they won't hurt her like people do.
Dogs are very loyal. Dogs are very, very loyal. And she values loyalty, if that makes sense. And dogs also give unconditional love. If you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, they're great companions for that reason. I mean, and yeah, she none of those dogs have ever hurt her, so she has no reason to do anything but love them.
Someone says, Flossie says, Matt, can you believe there is not a poker chip emoji? I was trying to post one. Someone says, Matt, what are your goals in life for the future?
Wow. I think I just want to be happy, be sober, be, I don't know. I don't really look too far into the future. Honestly, I kind of just live my life day by day at this point. And, you know, right now I'm happy, and I hope I'm happy tomorrow. I think that, yeah, I find, you know what it is, Leslie, to be honest with you, I find when I set goals that are too far out, I don't reach them. So I kind of set mini goals for myself.
I don't blame you.
This way I'm not disappointed. But yeah, I don't have any long-term goals, honestly. I just want to be happy. I do. And I want to, I guess one goal would be to be able to look myself in the face and look in the mirror, so to speak, and not think some bad things sometimes, you know, because I do beat myself up a lot for things that have happened in the past and so on and so forth. And I'm hard, you know, there's people in the world that are really hard on me. They are nothing compared to how hard I am on myself. So I think I'd like to be able to not be so hard on myself at some point and kind of forgive myself for things that I've done and try not to make the same mistakes. That would be a good goal.
Well, I think it's awesome now that so many people get to realize that you're not, that you're like an awesome person, that you're not really like kind of what MTV portrayed you to be. So, like, I know from like me as like someone that's like become good friends, like I hate to hear that you beat yourself up sometimes. Like that sucks because I think you're awesome.
Thanks, LB. I appreciate that. Somebody asked if I'm in a 12-step program. No. And I don't recommend that to anybody that they not do. I have done 12-step programs. I have. I have found, and this is going to come off maybe excuse-like, but I promise you it's not. 12-step programs, like meetings and so on and so forth, I've always had a fear that because I was a public figure, that the anonymous part may not stay anonymous. And so I kind of shied away from that. But I did do inpatient rehab, and which had 12 steps involved in it. So I'll sometimes work steps on my own, but I don't have a sponsor or anything like that right now. So no, to be perfectly honest with you. And there's some days I really wish I did. But no, I still have that fear of, you know, because I was somewhat in the public eye, that I have this paranoia that I'm going to go into a meeting somewhere and I'm going to pour my heart out and then I'm going to read about it on the Hollywood Gossip, you know, which is probably not going to be good for my sobriety. And I be honest, it may be just an unwarranted paranoia, but it definitely is one, and one I need to get over at some point.
I can understand that. Do you have sober friends or a sober community?
Do I have sober friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of my friends are, you know, they're not working programs, but none of my friends are addicts. I was the one. I was the bad friend. You know, my friend, my best friend in the world,
Jeff.
You know, we still talk about the fact that he is actually the one who forced me into recovery the first time, because I was just out of a relationship and I was crashing on his couch, getting high every night, and he did something to me that at the time seemed like the worst thing in the world, but it was actually the best thing in the world. He asked me one night, can I run to the store and grab him something? And when I did, when I came back, he had the door locked, and he looked through the window and said, don't come back until you're sober, because you're not going to die in my house. And at the time, I thought, dude, you just screwed me. I have nowhere to go. It actually saved my life. And we're very good friends to this day. You know, what seemed like a cold act was his way of saying, I'm not going to watch my friend die. So get help or go kill yourself. But either way, I'm not going to be a part of it. So we still talk about that to this day.
That's definitely the definition of tough love. And Matt, why I think it's something awesome to you know, I don't know, like I could never do that to someone, just because of how much it would, like, I think upset me too. But I see exactly why he would do that.
Well, you know what it is, Leslie. If you're not an addict and you're dealing with somebody like me, it's really not fair for me to interject my issues into someone who doesn't have the same issues life. And that's what I did a lot. And then you know what else I did a great deal? I could act like a jerk and be irresponsible and be a bad boyfriend or a bad father. And then I could say, well, you have to forgive me because I'm an addict. And what a bogus excuse that was. I find this with a lot of people that are new in recovery, that they use their addiction as an excuse for bad behavior. I did that for 20 years. And it wasn't until that I realized that I'm not going to get any better unless I start taking accountability for what I do and what I have done. And one of the 12 steps where you have to make amends to people, I tell you, that is the hardest step in the world, especially for somebody like me, because I didn't meet anybody in my life that I hadn't hurt. You know, the list of people that I hadn't hurt was invisible. Everybody I came into contact with was worse off for knowing me. And when I got to that place, I really thought, well, I need to make some changes, and I need to make them relatively quickly, or I'm going to end up dying alone. And I didn't want that. I don't think anybody really likes to be alone. And I realized I was completely alone. People were only interested in talking to me in those times because I was on the show, but I didn't really have any close friends. And I had drug friends and I had show friends. Other than that, I was completely alone. You know, and when you look back and you think there's not one person in the world whose life is better for you being in it, then you've got a serious problem. And that is a tough realization to come to. You know, and that's why sometimes I look in the mirror and just be like, dude, you suck. You know, you really, really suck. And then now you have to try to regain everybody's trust, but everybody only knows you as that guy. And I tell you what, addicts are really, really, really good at convincing you that we're better. You know, and I was really good at that. I could look you in the face and tell you I'm never going to do drugs again, and I'm never going to act this way again, and you would believe it. And 2 days later, I'm disappointing everybody again. And I told you this story, I believe, when my daughter, Brooklyn, was 7 years old. She had a little school thing at school, like a school assembly thing. And her mom and her were going, and I said, where are you guys going? And they said, we're going to Brooklyn school. And I said, well, Brooklyn, why didn't you tell me about this? And she said, Dad, I don't want you to come. You're always on drugs. I look back at that now, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? You know?
Yeah.
It was just, I don't have too many memories from the past that I embrace happily. And so I guess one of my goals is to be able to be 20 years down the road, look back at the last 20 years, and actually have memories that I cherish. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, that makes, no, it makes sense. I mean, I could see, you know, you saying, like, when you look back and you were, like, you never touched anybody's life or in a positive way, or that, like, I totally get what you're saying there. Like, but I have to say, since you come into my life, like, you have really been, like, a good friend to me. Like, when certain things happen and I tell you about it, like, I think you give me really good advice to help me. So I do want to
Well,
say that. So but yeah, it does make a lot of sense. Like when you told me the story about your daughter, that's heartbreaking, and I can imagine it broke your heart to hear her say that.
and I'll tell you what else breaks my heart and stuff. My daughter now is a college graduate. She's, starting her career. She's very successful, and I couldn't ask for a better daughter than her. And I look back on it and go, she achieved all of that in spite of her father. And that hurts me personally to think that, I can't take any credit for how wonderful my kids turned out. And that's me just loathing myself sometimes, When I went to my daughter's college graduation, I just remember looking at her mom and with such thankfulness that she was as wonderful as she was. Because when my daughter walked across that stage, and I literally was crying, I was thinking to myself, if her mother was anything like me, my daughter wouldn't be here right now. And, it just breaks my heart sometimes to think that I really can't take credit for any of the successes they've had. And I don't want anybody to have to think that way when they get to, if they're in a similar situation to me. Don't look back and think that everybody that you've come into contact with, you've had a negative effect on. And I can honestly say that that's true for a lot of my life. And, I don't know. It's difficult to talk about, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I think you definitely speak like 100% your truth, even though it's not pretty. Like a lot of your truth is not pretty. So I respect you for that. Someone asked, have you ever lost a friend to overdose? Have you lost anybody close to you to an overdose?
I almost lost myself to overdose a couple of times. So, no, I didn't because, and I'm sure I've known people that have overdosed, but close friends, no. I was a solitary drug addict. I didn't do drugs with other people. I did them by myself. And probably because I didn't want to share, who knows. But I did that stuff very, very solitary. Because to be honest with you, I was embarrassed to be a drug addict. But so I didn't advertise it, even though my behavior advertised it. I didn't advertise it. So I didn't do drugs around people. I did them by myself. And I remember when there was a time when Amber and I were talking as friends, and she, I was trying to convince her still that my drug days are behind me, and she asked me to send her a selfie. I'll never forget this. And I sent her a selfie, and she immediately texted me back. And again, this was before we were together. She texted me back, and she said, "What do you think? I'm an idiot? You're obviously still on drugs." I said, "What makes you say that?" She said, "The giant pill bottle in the picture." I was so high, I didn't realize that I was getting photo bombs on my pill bottle.
Oh my goodness.
It's those days are tough to look back on, but no, I don't have any personal friends that I knew that overdosed. Because I didn't get close to anybody. That's probably another reason too. I can't say that in my life I've had a lot of close friends. My friend Jeff, who was on Teen Mom with me, I can say that he's seen most of my behavior and certainly not approved of most of my behavior. But other than that, I didn't really get close to people, or people didn't want to get close to me. Which is why I didn't have any successful relationships. And I can't think of, and this is awful to say about yourself. I can't really think of one ex that I've had that would look back on our relationship and say, "Yeah, you know what? He was a pretty good guy." No, I was a douchebag. I cared more about myself than I did anybody else. Yeah. That's another goal. That if I ever get into a relationship and that relationship ends, this person can look back and say, "Yeah, it wasn't so bad." That's probably it's not a great goal, but it's a goal nonetheless.
Yeah, at least it's a goal to have, I guess. I guess if that's the way you really feel, is that probably all of your ex, they may be like, oh, he was a douche. I guess it's always a good thing to try to change that next time.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I get to the point. I think I'm getting there, where I don't have to try to control my behavior, where it just comes natural now. I think I'm getting to that point now where I don't have to pretend to act a certain way. I can just naturally. I think now I'm more the person that I've always been, but never actually had the ability to show it.
Yeah.
Because I think that I've always, I really believe this, and there could be millions of people that could disagree with this, and I'm fine with it. I always think I've been a good person, but my behavior did not dictate that because I was so selfish in my behavior. Everything I did was about me and impulse control, and I never once thought of how my actions affected other people's lives. And if I did think about that, I just didn't care, because I would medically numb myself to the point of having no guilt or no remorse. Once I got sober, one of the toughest things for me was all of that remorse and all of those guilty feelings just came rushing back to me. And so now I'm trying to stay clean, but I'm having nothing but hatred towards myself.
Yeah, a lot of guilt.
And so much empathy towards everybody that I've hurt. And so I think that's one of the toughest parts about getting clean. And I think that's probably why a lot of people relapse, because it's the emotional roller coaster that you're going through. You just don't want to feel that. It's a horrible, horrible feeling.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense. I know someone, and deep down, it's like I know he's a good person. I've known him for several years. I know he's like a good person. He's one of the most kind-heartedest people you would ever meet. But on drugs, he's not. He's not a good dad. He's not a good son. He's not a good friend. And then when he tries to get sober, one of the things that I'll hear him say a lot is he'll talk a lot about how he screwed up being a dad. He don't talk about that when he's not sober. When he's not sober, I don't really hear from him. But when he's sober, he talks about how he's messed up so much, missing out on his kids' lives. So I think that's something that you don't realize.
Leslie, not to interrupt you. You know what's interesting about that is that once I got clean, I realized that my conversations, for example, with my son or my daughter, became awkward for me because I realized I didn't know anything about them, and what was I going to talk to them about? And they don't have trust in me that I'm clean and sober now. And and at that time, they had every right to feel that way. So it was almost like, even though we had been in each other's lives and loved each other unconditionally as, a parent and a child, it was almost like they had to re-get to know their own father. And that was difficult for me, and if I said to them, oh, hey, I'm going to come to your graduation, I could hear okay, Dad, in their voice. You know what I mean? I know he means well, but he's probably not going to show up, that kind of, and that is really tough to hear, because when you're first newly clean, you want everybody to just believe you.
Right.
But history tells you they can't believe you. So it's a long road to get to the point where when you say something, they know you're telling the truth. And that was really difficult for me. And it's been a number of years in getting to the point where I am now, where I could say, yeah, I'm going to fly out for your graduation, or yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And they know it's going to happen. But at first I was like, what do you mean you don't believe me? Well, of course they didn't believe me. And what I've always said is, I've never said anything that I didn't mean at the time. If I had said to my son, of course I'm going to be at your baseball game, hypothetically. Oh, I meant it at the time. It wasn't a lie. It just, my addiction and my own selfishness would have gotten in the way back then.
Yeah.
When you remove that from your life, then these things just become natural. Like, of course I'm going to be there. You know, I'm your father. That kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a good place to be, but it's a really hard place to get to.
Yeah. That's the way, like when I asked, my older kids sometimes, like, so are you going to invite your dad to such and such? It got to the point one time to where my daughter said, why? He's not going to come. Which was really sad because she got to the point to where she kind of got tired of inviting him because she knew he would not come.
And that's a horrible place for a kid to have to be. It
Yeah,
really is.
absolutely. I mean, I had to tell him that. I told her dad that. I told him, I said, your kid will not even invite you to things anymore because she doesn't think you're going to come.
You know what I found myself doing a lot during my active addiction days was making promises that I couldn't keep. Now I don't do that. You know, if I can't do something, I can't do it. You know, if it's not humanly possible for me to achieve something, I don't do it. But back then, it was just so easy to say, yes, I'm going to do this. And it might not have been a realistic thing. But then, at the time, I didn't realize that just those words, by not doing the action, was really letting people down. Now I think about other people first and say, before you commit to doing this, is it actually something that you can achieve? And it's amazing that, believe it or not, people really appreciate honesty up front. Who knew? So,
absolutely.
It's so much easier to live your life that way than to overpromise and underdeliver. I'd rather underpromise and overdeliver.
I agree. That's what I do have to say. Paris and Kane's dad has done better, but like a lot of the things that you talk about, Matt, like kind of hit home with me with him. Like when you talk about like telling your kids you would do this because at the time you really thought that you were going to do it, but then your addiction or whatever would get in the way and then you wouldn't. That I think it was the same exact thing with him.
Yeah, and I think with me, I can't just say addiction. I would say my own addiction and my own selfishness got in the way. I mean, I can't blame everything on addiction. I'm the one that made those choices to behave the way that I did. And so I will never say that everything I've ever done in my life is due to addiction. That would be a flat-out lie and a cop-out. But, all I can say is being sober allows me amazingly to make much better decisions. So if that's a coincidence, then that's fine. But
definitely not a coincidence.
Sobriety is certainly a better route for me.
Yeah. Well, I just know that as long as I've known you, and it's been, just a couple weeks, I think you're pretty awesome.
Well, thanks, Elby. I think you're awesome, too. I've really enjoyed becoming your friend. I really have. You're just good people. And of course, Flossie, I love Flossie to death, and I really, really enjoyed getting to know you guys and, some of your family and so on and so forth. I appreciate it. I really do.
Someone said, what was your turning point?
What was my what?
Your turning point.
My turning point was when I was forced into rehab and left rehab and then almost died. That was my turning point. When you are so overly, let's call it medicated, and you're alone, and you almost die, you wake up in a pile of your own, all kinds of different fluids, and you look, that was a turning point for me, and it was the alone factor, I think was really hit it for me, because when I came out of this condition that I was in, and I realized there was nobody around, that I had chased away everybody in my life, that really hit home for me. Like, I literally have nobody, and that's not how I wanted to die, and that's what did it for me. That was when I said I really, really, really need to make some changes, and it was by far the hardest thing I've ever had to do, by far, and I hated every second of it for the first 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I hated it. It was so much easier to get high. It really was, because drugs are easy to find. Sobriety's not, and so that's what did it for me. You know, it wasn't just almost dying; it was almost dying alone. And then realizing that I don't know how many people really would have cared if I would have died, and that's a really tough realization to come to.
Well, I think now, for sure, a lot of people, now that you're speaking out and people are getting to see you for like who you really are, I think you have a lot more fans now than you ever did when you were on Teen Mom. Because people are really getting to hear from you.
I do. I mean, and listen, my goal when talking, I talk to you because you asked me to talk to you, and we're friends, and I'll do anything for you. But my goal in doing this is not to have people think of me a different way. I'm just telling the truth, and there's going to be a section of the people. I saw comments tonight. He's a con artist. Okay, I'm all right with that. Doesn't hurt my feelings. It really doesn't. I can't control what anybody thinks of me any more than I can control the weather.
Right.
What people think of me doesn't necessarily affect what I'm going to do tomorrow. So, and I mean, of course, it's nice to be liked, but that's okay. If people are going to hate me, I know that they're hating me for the wrong reasons. So, somebody, actually my neighbor, this is interesting, recently, last time I saw this person said to me, you're a really good guy. What's it like to be hated for made-up reasons? And I thought, I think I told you about this, Leslie, and I was like, wow, well, that's kind of an interesting question. I'd never really thought of it like that. I think a lot of the things people disliked me for were misinformation, but I've always said the truth wasn't any better. So, while the information may have been incorrect, I could give you a million reasons for people to have hated me. So I'm okay with that. I really am. It's everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I'd rather somebody take their frustrations and their anger and the hatred out on me than other people in their lives. I think I'm more equipped to handle it. So that's okay. You need to vent. Feel free.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question. I'm going to ask you one more question, Matt, and then after that, we're going to shut the live stream down because it's midnight and I have to wake Shine up in 4 hours. So I'm going to ask you one more question and we're going to get off. If you had to do it all over again, Teen Mom, be on the show, date Amber, would you do it and would you make any changes?
Yeah, I would do it again. Absolutely. I would do it sober. I think I would have been a better partner to Amber. I think I would have been a better role model to my kids. And I think I probably would have maybe been seen in a different light. Maybe. That's what I would do differently. I have no regrets over my time on that show. None. I can't blame. I mean, I see people say MTV painted you in a bad light. I painted myself in a bad light a lot of times, and I deserved it. I deserved all the visceral reactions people had because I acted irresponsibly and I didn't always act the best. And I can't blame MTV for my behavior. Do I love everything that they did and some of the editing that they did? No, but I don't blame them for doing their job. No, I have no ill feelings about that. So to answer your question, if I could do it all over again? Yeah, I would do it again. I mean, I would just do it differently. I would do it more myself than the medicated self that I was.
Yeah. I think, I never knew that you were high ever at any point in time on the show. So you fooled me. But
it wasn't every time. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't every time. But I don't watch the shows. Like, I don't go back and look at the shows. I didn't watch them when they're on. But I remember Amber said to me one day that she saw old episodes of her prior to her going to prison, and she could tell when she was high and when she wasn't. I bet you if I went back and looked at episodes, I'd be like, oh, Matt, just look at your eyes, or look at the way you're talking, or look at the way you're behaving, or your mannerisms. I would be able to tell, and I don't think I'd want to see it. I don't think I'd want to see that. I don't want to see that behavior. I choose to remember it. I don't think I need to see it.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, you remember. You probably don't want to go back and watch yourself do it all over and know that you were high in some of those scenes or at some of those points.
Yeah, and I think the more painful ones would be to see the ones when I wasn't high and was still acting like a jerk. So I think those would be even tougher to watch.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true. Okay, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get off here. Matt, thank you so much for hanging out with us and answering questions. You always come through for me.
Happy to help, LB.
Yes, I will text you.
And thank you, everybody, for your questions and your comments, good, bad, or ugly. Doesn't matter. I appreciate you guys listening, and it's nice talking to everybody.
Yes, everybody's telling you good night. Matt, I will text you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, and hey, don't forget, if you guys really do want to book, just get your info to Leslie through email, and I'll make sure everybody gets one, okay?
All right, yeah, you guys, just hit me up through email, and we'll get you a book. All right, Matt, I'll text you tomorrow.
All right, Leslie.
All right, bye. All right, thank you, everyone, for hopping on. We've had over 200 people in the chat this entire time. So thank you. If you want to listen to the victim impact statement, that's at the very beginning. I think I started it around 9 minutes. I will go ahead and put my email up again. So there's my email for anyone that wants the book. You guys can just email me. We will get the information to Matt, and we'll get you guys a book. And I will be live tomorrow night to do Chris White's as long as the kids go to sleep on time. So yeah, on your way out, you guys, if you enjoyed the stream, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much to everyone that joined. Thank you so much to Matt for letting me call you and giving so much insight to your life and everything that you have went through and talking about and answering all the questions. I don't think there was one question that you said you wasn't going to answer. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much to my awesome moderators who kept the trolls at bay. I literally would not even, like, I would see something and you guys was on it like white on rice. So thank you guys. All right, until next time, bye everybody.